Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to day number 2 of the Thailand Super Series Grand Finale. Today coming to you live from Buriram International Circuit, or at least those shots on the ground. It's good to see our YouTube audience has returned for day number 2. Peter Baxter joined me for the commentary yesterday, but we've got our usual stalwart Dan Yeaman's back on the scene. I'll tell you what, Dan, it was this category right here, this compacts for the 60 minutes on a lap. Chaos on lap number 1 yesterday. We lost... Well, we didn't lose 2 cars on lap 1. We lost 1 car, but effectively put the second car into a state of disarray, and it was a long, long way back. It's about pace. It's about raw outright speed, and looking after these tyres for 60 minutes. You all set? You all sorted and comfortable for 60 minutes worth of super compact action?
Well, in terms of me talking, yes. As a sort of a heads up for what's happening here today, I'm actually also the one setting everything up and presenting our pictures for the English feed here today. That wasn't quite the intended plan. Unfortunately, our regular producer for these English productions through Speak Cafe has had some internet dramas, unfortunately. So I've had to step in and talk and manage the cameras today. But yeah, it was a bit of a busy morning for me, unfortunately, which did not help that situation. But we're here now. We've got the feed from the circuit. We just need the audio to come through in a couple of minutes, hopefully, as, of course, the drivers of the Super Compact getting ready to go racing. It's actually a bit of a gap in the grid there, so I wonder if we've got a couple of cars choosing to start from the pits today, Scott, because unfortunately I missed out on yesterday's racing, so I haven't had a chance to fully get myself up to speed on how things are going after a day's racing so far this weekend.
Well, unfortunately for everyone watching at home, they would kind of be a little bit aware as, Dan was just actually not available to commentate with us yesterday. That's fine. We had Pete on with us, but we lost a lot of cars to engine dramas, gearbox dramas, you name it. There was so much smoke coming out the back. And actually from our Super Compacts, the 24 car was one of the cars that was heavily impacted. I expect we'll see them back out on the grid yet again today. There were 2 more cars that were heavily impacted, including one of our favourite entries, which was the bright pink car as well. It drove from the rear of the field. I'm just trying to grab the name on that one, and I believe it was the 93 car of Aki Jutanarath, whose car unfortunately came to a standstill in the middle of the track. There's our usual happy driver, Det Boy, in the number 4 entry. I've always loved this Ford Fiesta. There we go. There's the live from the circuit sound feed starting to come through as those cars start to fire up. We're about to go racing, or at least roll off in our formation lap for 60 minutes of your super compact field, Dan. And lots of different cars up and down the field. And I was talking to Pete yesterday. I've just picked up myself a kind of gets just to get around the track. I'm going to have to convince my wife, I think, to allow me to install a roll cage in it.
Oh, that would be something there, I think. I mean, yeah, it's the fact. Yeah, it's the interesting case I think to start off with here. The Super Compact, of course. We've got ourselves these small, lightly modified cars, which typically belong on city streets, but we're here at the Chang International Circuit, and it's a fantastic venue, whilst very much recent in terms of its opening and relatively short history on the world stage. The fact that we have the MotoGP come here, as well as various, and namely here, the Thai Super Series here, and their various categories. It looks like we're going to get our orders from the timing stand there for the formation lap to get underway here now, Scott, and so they'll start to warm these cars up. We'll see if we can get it as... There we are, the sounds of some flat falls. And I'm looking forward to this here. Hopefully we'll get a couple more of these onboard shots like this today. That will be fun to watch these cars and see how much they can push the limits here around the Chang International Circuit.
Yeah, and they're going to get themselves nice and sorted. 60 minutes yesterday. It only took us 1 corner before we had our first safety car of the Super Compact weekend. They're going to be the first of the drivers and the first of the fields who are going to feed us off, and the first to have their championship decided. It's all come down to this. It's race 8 of the B-Quik Thailand Super Series for your Super Compact drivers. 4.5 kilometers the circuit distance, 12 turns in length, fast, flat out, and about drafting all the way down to turn number 3. Get it down the inside, pull that car up, double it back at the turn at 3 hairpin. Turn 4, turn 5, it's about making sure you don't run wide through the track limits. Turn 6 and 7, the nice little switch back, and then turn 8 and turn 9, again, more track limits. The dip at 9, 10, 11, and up and out over the crest on the run down to the final corner. One of the big differences that we were made aware of, that I wasn't certainly aware of yesterday, Dan, was that the difference between the Super Compact and the Super Eco is a little bit of engine capacity, a little bit of speed, but number one, and primarily, slick versus semi-slick tyres. The compacts on those slick tyres, and something you won't be aware of as well, is there's actually a 24-hour race coming up here next weekend for the compact and eco style classes as well. So for these drivers, this is track time, and very, very important track time, as our grid's going to come thick and fast at us here. Thanapatra was quick yesterday. He's to be off pole position. Giropat off alongside of him. They've got that car repaired. Chenachicha and our 4th place driver as well, Chenyabut and Chatrafal. Chaya was quick late in the piece, as was Kajonsak. Both of those drivers making up places late on. Chotanin and Chanchanuk, Pimpol and Techet are going to round out your 6th row of the grid. We'll move 1 row further back in just a few moments and get to 13th and 14th. Will be Thanawat in the 15 and Funapat in the 34, Ertsen and Aki. I'm assuming Aki's probably not going to make that grid. Didn't see his car out there on the formation lap, and Pongpat from the rear of the field. And it was interesting, Aki yesterday, Dan, in the 1 lap, or the half a lap before we got to our safety car field and got stabilized, went from, I want to say 15th and all the way up to 5th. Let's see if he's going to be out there today, because that car did not look like we'd be seeing it again today.
That'll be unfortunate there, to say the least. So fingers crossed, perhaps that might change for us when we get closer to the start. Well, we'll see how it goes. So the order there at the track side to assume the 2x2 grid formation for the rolling start here. And you just catch the back of the field as they make their way around. I believe that would actually possibly even be turn 11 already. Yep, already heading down to turn 12 now, as the drivers start to try and make sure they calm the nerves, prepare themselves to get ready to go racing here. As you said, their final race of the Thailand Super Compact season here for 2023. As we're just now waiting to round the final corner and looking at it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think I count 14 out of our 17 listed starters. So unfortunately, a couple of cars short from yesterday. As you said, round the final turn they come. Here we go, Scott. 60 minutes on the clock there on your right-hand side of the screen. It's time to go racing here at the Buriram circuit.
Now, lights are going to go off, but keep your eyes on Giropat on the right-hand side of the road. Only got through half of a lap yesterday, and we'll see if it can be a fair bit further today for him as he tries to settle it on down into turn number 1. They will get through turn number 1. It's a massive slide there, and look at them already scrambling out and over the track limits as they'll try and go racing, and they'll get themselves settled down on lap number 1. The 33 of Chaya making some ground in the early stages on the run down to turn number 3. Will Giropat managed to get down to the inside. He is going to get down the inside, and he'll try and keep Thanapatra out there. Nearly contact mated, keeping him wide on the entry. They're both running it very, very deep on the run down to turn number 3.
Go through this hairpin. It's quite a long corner as well, having watched some onboards preparing for this here. And there you go, try to get the run on the inside there, but tucks back in for the draft towards turn 4 as they'll now come up to this fast left-hand corner and then set themselves up for turn 5. 2x2 there in the middle of the field, but single file for our top 5, make it top 6 there. And then in behind, a little bit of order to sort out, but looks like pretty orderly. There we go, move for second place up the inside at the turn 6. They're going to turn 5 probably will get plenty of the inside curve because it's nice and flat there. Move done there as they head to turn 6.
Yeah, and keep your eyes on a couple drivers as a part of this one as well. Chaya will be one of them who's making some really strong moves in the early stages, all the way up to second. Did fall off late in the piece. The tyre wear will be a problem. But have a look at John Sack, a little bit closer than he was necessarily yesterday in the 5 entry as well. They're making significant gains compared to their previous running speed. So it's a big shake-up in compared to yesterday's running order. And in terms of things, everyone's managed to get themselves settled down. We won't have a safety car on lap number 1 as we did yesterday. And everyone's trying to get themselves in. And look, I tell you what, Aki is actually out on that track. I said he might not be. Well, he's in the background. I did see a flash of his pink car. It's still turning, but for Chaya, successful opening lap for Chaya. I mean, started deep in the field and has managed to cut his way through already. That's a great start to the race.
On board here now, this might be a number 4 machine, and Unfortunately, the camera will freeze on us there. That would have been, if I saw that number correctly, that would have been a Kajonsak there as around turn 1. You can see drivers want to use the exit as much as they can, but obviously you have to be careful not to get too greedy there. As Kajonsak up in behind Tannerot, I believe, as we come towards turn 2, and indeed, yep. But he'll look for a moment there, Scott, under brakes, but no. There he goes, the number 14, parks at middle of the road, and Kajonsak will try and swing round from the outside of the turn, get the widest entry possible, and maximise it. And it turns out a bit of a dead heat there in that particular occasion, as we see there. Kajonsak in P6, forward to the in third. Top 2 starting to break away there at the front of the field as we return forward on the 7.
Yeah, we didn't get to see this 24 entry and what their tyre wear is going to be like across the 60 minutes. Reminder as well to those watching along at home, 10-minute pit window opens at the start of the 26th minute of the race and runs through to the end of the 35th minute of the race. 10-minute window right in the middle of things where they'll have to swap over from the driver that starts the race to the driver that finishes the race if they are a 2-driver combination. And don't forget, throughout the field we actually have multiple cars that's a single driver pairing. Kajonsak is one of those. Tanapatra is another one. Chaya is certainly a third. Already moving a long way forward. Have a look at Kajonsak. Significant pace upgrade compared to yesterday. So our 2 leaders have sort of broken away just a fraction. And for now, Shanya Booth and Tanapatra need to get themselves sorted out just a little bit. Otherwise, Kajonsak's going to be on them. And the number 4 car, the Ford Fiesta, looked after its tyres reasonably well, had pace late in the race. But unfortunately for him, it was a poor start to the race. He was sort of cutting his way back through the field to where he should have been yesterday. So we'll see if he can capitalise on a better start today.
That is always the key here. You can see that there. Go for a really wide entry, use the curb on the way to turn 1, try and pick up every extra little kilometre an hour, and then you see there from Kajonsak, he'll run all of the exit curb as well there. Hopefully not pushing the limits too much, because if you do that, that will put potentially in a bit of a naughty there from race control, perhaps, if they push past the track limits there. As we have the map on screen to get an idea of the gap starting to build there for Tannerot at the front of the field. Giropat behind the wheel, apologies there, as you see on the timing tower. He'll be sharing that car with Tannerot later on today. But 2-second margin at the start-finish line.
One thing I did forget to prime you on before we actually went live is, do you feel like you're in Austria? Because you're about to get FIA track limits blasting all over your screen. So look for the black and white flag. For those of you watching along at home, there's not necessarily a specific amount of track limits prior to receiving that black and white flag. It is abuse of track limits that will get you the black and white flag. If it's very, very clear that you're pushing wide and you're taking advantage of it, the stewards will give you the black and white flag, at which point, next time off, gets you a 5-second time penalty. Well, for Giropat, he's looking quite good in the opening stanza of this one. It was a huge slide yesterday that ricocheted him back across the track, and unfortunately we lost one car at the exit of turn number 1, and the 24 entry looked like it might have had some wheel damage, which later on resulted in a spin down around the exit of turn 7 on the run to turn number 8. So they've got this car repaired, got it back out, and apparently they've found a few extra horses and a little bit of extra pace as well. Bachaya works the tyres quite hard yesterday, although the race we had yesterday for the compacts was in a little bit of a hotter portion of the day. Still quite cool, only just after 8 AM over in Thailand at this point in the day. So temperatures will be beginning to rise as the day progresses, and tyre wear, Dan, it's going to be on the cards.
Ooh, there's an example of track limits probably being flouted a bit there. That would have been Tanapatra in the number 5. As in behind, it's Chatrapol and Kajonsak once again up towards turn 3. Number 5, that Ford Fiesta, looking for a moment as we're going to go on board further on, probably not further on back, this is it with Chatrapol. So Kajonsak's right behind us here. We can see Tanapatra in front of us as around turn 3. No sign of too much pressure there for the number 14 as you see, build the speed up now here towards turns 4 and 5. We're going to grab 5th gear here for a moment. And let's see, do we have one more gear in us? Unfortunately, we are going to lose the video feed there towards turn 4. Further on back behind Kajonsak, a bit of a healthy margin back here. That's would be Ayrton there, number 69, then followed up by the Honda Jazz, which has currently got Tekit. Unfortunately, I might be butchering some of his name, but I do apologise to anyone who's listening along and cringing internally at the pronunciation
Well,
there.
Guess what, Dan? We've had our first black and white flag warning is coming your way, and it's going to be for the driver of the number 4 Ford Fiesta that's in the background of that one. Kajon Sak is the first driver to be warned. And we were talking about this yesterday in the broadcast. There were some drivers who were getting warnings very, very early on in the race. Well, this is the earliest black and white flag we've seen thus far across the weekend. 52 minutes Kajon Sak is now going to have to do. All the while, the stewards are going to be breathing down his neck looking for any track violations. But for right now, it settles in behind the 14 of Shatrafol and Thanapatra. The 5 car yesterday looked to be one of the quickest cars that was out there. And no, the race leader, the Baby Boss Garage entry. Oh, it's been a torrid weekend for them. You can see the smoke coming off the front end of the car. Unscheduled pit stop, and that will be their race done. They scored no points yesterday. They didn't finish the race. It looks like they may have destroyed a front left tyre. We might have a puncture on that car.
On board once again in the meantime with the number 14 of Chatrafol. You can see there in front, Thanapatra goes defensive to cover off the inside for turn 3. They'll go side by side. Can Kajon Sak take advantage there with the wide entry, tight exit? He'll get alongside the number 14 for a moment, but single file on corner exit once again. So that one will stay as it was, it seems, for the time being. There's another car in the pits here. Aki in the number 93. Yeah, the Honda Jazz for Fortron next to racing. Now, that's 2 cars in the pits, unfortunately. Was P12 score across the line for Aki last time around, so unfortunately has been buried in the back of the field out of our 14 starters. And as you said, too early for a scheduled stop. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is an endurance race, so hopefully a safety car might save those guys. But I think for the 24, it might be a tyre drama. It looked like it might have been a tyre drama. Only a little bit of smoke coming out, so I think they actually may be somewhat okay. But for Aki, I mean, you just remember his car, he had miles of smoke coming off of a tyre at some point. It was rubbing on a guard yesterday, and Pete made the comment that he thinks something might have flicked off a tyre and made some damage to the front end of that engine. Both races, he actually had his lap times deleted for qualifying too. So whether or not there was an issue with that car, or they weren't able to qualify it, maybe they're on a backup engine as the number 4 of Kajon Sak gets down the inside, gets the job done into the final corner. That was beautiful onboard vision. Give me more of that if we can have some, because that is how you make the overtake the position from the number 4.
Indeed, just really, just better power, really, was pretty much there before they even got to the final corner. So curious to see, is that Fiesta got a little something now that it can start to stretch its legs up to 4th place for Kajon Sak in the number 4, already going after Thanapatra, who's defensive early. And look at that, he switched back from the middle to the right-hand side of the circuit, try and break the toe, but here we go. Outside, tight defense from Thanapatra, wide entry from Kajon Sak to try and swing through, but no dice at turn 3 once again. And in fact, coming off that corner, Chatrafol might just have a run at it. Or he'll try, but no. Cut back outside, inside Scott. Getting in the mirrors of Kajon Sak here to try and potentially throw things for a loop. As we have a look there, lap times on screen for a second. This is what it looked like on board here with this switching back and forth after the turn 3 hairpin. Yeah,
and you're going to see it for Kajon Sak. He's going to come back to the right again as well. And unfortunately, the live feed. I'm going to go ahead and say there's probably a black spot in the onboard communications right down there. It's right as turn 4 that it seems to drop out on the regular. But in terms of things, Kajon Sak's got the spot. The 2 cars that were quick in a straight line, well, the 3 cars, one of them was Aki, who was already in the pit lane and has returned to the circuit. So the cars that there is the 59 and the 24 are both in pit lane again. But the 93's returned back to the circuit, at least at this point in time. So you'll see him at some point, although I don't know for how long. But the 2 cars that were quickest in a straight line that are still out there were actually the 5 of Thanapatra and the 4 of Kajon Sak. So now you're going to see 2 guys that have got that straight line speed going down into the final corner. And have a look at the bravery from Kajon Sak. My major concern, particularly with Thanapatra, was just look at the line that he took on the last time by down into turn 3. Now, that was late braking, and it was a lot of pressure on the front tyres, Dan. I'm concerned for his ability to continue defending for another 40 minutes or so and look after those tyres. I'm worried about those front tyres for the Thanapatra.
Oh, yeah, it'll be nearly 50 minutes because, yeah, 47 minutes and 40 seconds just now as they come past the little kink at turn 2 and the hairpin at turn 3. That's Chatrafol looking to the inside of Kajonsak this time here. I have to say that Fiesta, despite the way he got past at the final corner, there we go, move made by Chatrafol, although the switchback potentially from Kajonsak, not quite. I think we're going to drag race up towards turn 4, and with Chatrafol on the inside, it actually gets clear there on corner exit, able to get back into 4th place there in the number 14. The Fiesta off of turn 12 there after Kajonsak tried to get up the inside of Thanapatra. It didn't look like they had the drive on that particular occasion. So I'm curious to see how things go there. As into turn 5 they go on this lap. And looking at top speeds, well, yeah, you said these guys are looking quick, but looks like the speed today is out with Chaya and Chanyabut at the moment. Those two drivers lapping in the mid 1 minute 57s. Drivers here lapping in the mid to high 159s. Although they are dueling a bit, of course, and that does obviously play its part.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was literally about to lead into you, Dan, and say the same thing looking at lap times. The leaders are starting to just disappear a little bit. Car 14 now, which is in this battle pack, is Chatrafol, has just received his black and white flag. So 2 of the 3 cars that are in this battle pack have now been warned by the stewards for their abuse of track limits. And if there was any warning provided overnight, from a team manager's perspective, from a driver's perspective, from a steward's perspective, it probably would have been, have a look at the number of drivers that are right up against those penalties, as we're going to go back on board with the driver of the number 4. And Kajonsak trying to get this car pulled up at turn number 1. Look at how much he closes in under brakes. Well, he's quick into the corner, but it looks like the 14 of Chatrafol, he's just settling the car earlier, Dan. He's getting back to the power. So whilst all of those gains are being made on the corner entry phase for the number 4 of the Ford Fiesta, you can break that fraction later. It's the mid to exit of the corner where Chatrafol's just making all his time.
Slow in, fast out is one of the golden rules in circuit racing, and it certainly looks to be applying here, especially when you've got a low-powered car. Making sure that you're as fast as you can once you get out of the turn is critical. There's also the fact that it looks like when we've been on board with Chatrafol, he's got a sequential paddle gearbox. Kajonsak, and I have to say credit to him, he's got to work at H-pattern shifter there by the looks of things in the number 4 Fiesta, so got a bit more work to do there and just going to be a little slower with the shifts, and that would explain a bit perhaps why he didn't quite, in that occasion, he tried to get up the inside at turn 12 down the front straight. That would perhaps explain why he didn't get there, because he just has more work to do getting up through the gears as we check in with our race leader in Chaya, who's got himself a bit of a margin back to Chanyabut in second place, but still certainly... Oh, that's slow. That's very slow, actually.
That'll be an issue of some description, and very quickly Chanyabut goes through. He looks like he's lost drive. There's looks to be no drive on that car whatsoever. So for the 33, he's now going to be on the outside. Here comes the group through. So we've already lost a couple cars from the lead group. He's not going to make pit lane. There's no drive in that car whatsoever. Might have been a gear. As we look to the M&M team on the pit wall, they're talking to their driver at this point in time. And for Chaya, who's leading the race, I know he's in championship contention, but he's found some drive back. He might have found a gear again.
Oh, this is going to be interesting to see here. He will go straight for the pit lane. I think you have to... Yeah, that's still looking a little unhealthy and definitely slow. So limp it back in, see if we can get it figured out here, and maybe, just maybe, get back out on track before the race ends. Time is, I guess they've got time to do it, but yeah, going to be a lot of effort to try and fix that up, you would think, at this stage.
Oh, I'm disappointed for that, because I know after yesterday had a reasonable finish. They're going to go to work on this car and try and get it back out there, hope for a safety car, and keep their race alive, or are they just going to push it back in the garage? That's going into the garage. No? Straight back into the stall. Okay, they were just looking for more room to work on the car. Well, we've had a series, pretty much, thus far, get to the lead. Well, the car's given up the ghost. So for Chanyabut, all of a sudden, reliability might be the thing that he's trying to look after. Last time by a 1:58.245, your new race leader. And in 7 minutes' time, that pit lane window is going to open. How long will the drivers stay out? But then Patra in the number 5 car won't have to do a driver swap, but he will have to sit there the extra little bit of time to wait for his pit lane time to elapse. And for the rest of the drivers are on their way through. Patra has now found himself in second place. John Sack's still sticking with him. But for Patra, it can be a little bit more defensive with those curb strikes, albeit it probably wouldn't be too worried about defending off right now. Hang on to it. Just try and set the best lap times you absolutely can. Look, if John Sack's faster, let him go. It's a 60-minute race. We've got pit stops to come.
I mean, yeah, there is a bit of that there in terms of, yeah, when is it best to, there you go, defensive from, I like it. I like the effort he's putting in, but this could be all for naught here. As around turn 12, and again, that tight entry compromises the run for the Insane Motorsport number 5. Can John Sack get there side by side? They're almost in each other's doors. On board now. But there we go.
Oh,
there's a bit of contact. And the number 4 is to come into turn 1, but he's ahead there, John Sack, through the turn 1, and I believe, there we go, we'll finally take second place now away from the number 5 of Patra, although watch out for the draft back up to turn 3 here.
Yeah, now Patra's going to give the return of serve because he's seen the, John Sack's going to get defensive. Well, no, not necessarily. Patra was extremely defensive on the run down to the last corner. And the wives and families down in pit lane. Well, he covered him. He covered him at the apex, and he had to cover him again. John Sack had no choice. Had to lift. Did lift. And now they'll come out of turn number 3, and it's going to be a bit of a drag race. You get the feeling Chatrafol's going to get alongside. Chatrafol's very much alongside. In fact, he's ahead as they run down to turn number 4. Now it's going to give some breathing room to Patra. And Patra's getting the elbows out there nice and early, Dan. It's the last race of the season. The last opportunity to show everyone what you're made of, and Patra has absolutely got that in mind. In the meantime, Chanya Boot, 9-second lead just about as we come through. Dan, I don't know if you've seen the timing screen, but I'm sure you'll see it in a few moments. John Sack has got himself a 5-second penalty. We mentioned it. He got his black and white flag at about 52-minute mark. It only took him a further 12 minutes to get himself a 5-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. He's going to, at this rate, he's going to end himself up with about 30 seconds worth of penalties as this race continues.
He's got to be very careful now to already be in the naughty books and have the penalty to his name. Now, it's a time penalty. Will he be able to serve that at the pit stop? No, that is just going to be applied to his race time at the end. Okay, there we go. Well, I guess it makes sense. Mandatory pit stops and everything. It's a bit... Also, I think it's also not a bad idea. Yeah, just... Right, you've done the crime, and now you're going to do the time. And there's no being able to come back from it, per se. Although, we'll have to see. Can John Sack maybe find a way to get back to Patra, get past him, and then build a gap here out on track and potentially make that penalty all for naught. But these 3 cars here fighting over second place have been pretty close as we'll go on board with Chatrafol here down towards turn 3, although maybe another time we'll have to try that out as we see here another car into the pit. Again, still too early for the compulsory pit window. The number 68 I'm seeing there on the windscreen.
69, I think it is, yeah.
Or is 69, will be 69.
Which is
Ayrton there. Was 8th place at the start of the last lap.
This was your race winner from yesterday too, so unfortunately for Ayrton, they've had to bring this car down to the lane, and unfortunately for him, it is going to be a very, very early... They look like they're changing tyres. There might be another... No, they're just checking the brakes. Are they aware that the pit lane window's not open yet?
I would think so. Yeah. I would think so. The teams you'd think the teams would be well aware of exactly where we are in the race and where the time window is. As having a look here at the number 80 on track there. Tekit, the first of our Honda Jazz entries currently running out on track. P5 at the moment. As comes up through turns 5 and 6. And then into the back half of the lap here. And make the run back to the start-finish line. See, Tekit's got a bit of a healthy gap behind him. That there is Pimpol in the number 57. Honda CRZ in P6. also got himself a healthy gap behind because the next car behind Pole is Tanawit in the number 15 for Idemitsu Racing Team Thailand, the Honda City entry. Nowhere in sight from this angle just yet. And there we go. And we switched the long shot from turn 12 back up to turn 11. There's the number 15 of Tanawit now on screen.
I'll tell you what, just keep an update on some of the cars that are a little bit further down. So Ayrton's still in the pit lane at this point in time. Pongpat in the 23 car has returned to the race track, as has Aki Jitranath. At the moment, circulating in the 205s for Aki. So it is about 8 seconds off the pace, and I think he actually set the fastest race lap yesterday too. So he was absolutely flying in the early stages of things. So some sort of drama continues to go on for the 93. He's at least out there, still circulating. For the 24 car, they've actually returned to the track as well, albeit they've only completed 8 laps as it currently stands. Oh, sorry, they've completed 8 laps as it currently stands. 3 laps behind our race leaders, but 4 laps behind our race leaders. My apologies. As displayed on screen right there, and unfortunately that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Did not see the 65, the 18 or the 34, which would have been Chanachicha, Buapon and Banapat to start the race, and we've since lost multiple other cars, the 59, the 33 and the 69, all in pit lane at this point in time. All the other cars back out on track, so we've lost 6 from the starting field of 17, and that leaves us with 11 currently circulating.
Yes, all right. Well, see there. Yeah, the activity's still in pit lane. We're coming up to the pit window. It's not too far away. If I get this right, it'd be about a minute away there, to be precise. With 36:09 on the clock, that should open up at the 35-minute mark, if I'm getting everything right in my head, Scott. So it looks like by the time you see here Chanya will come back round to the pit lane, will have the option to come in and complete the compulsory stop if they so choose, given lap times here, almost 2-minute mark. We'll be back around in plenty of time as it comes through turn 3 on this occasion. 11-second margin at the start-finish line back to Tanapatra, who's got Kajonsak still within 8/10 of a second. But once again, this car out front, lap time-wise, is still pulling nearly a second a lap on P2 and P3 at this stage. It's quite the dominant run so far. It's down in the pits. There we go. Yeah, Toyota Gazoo Racing Team Thailand getting ready to do driver swap there. It was Tan Chanok in the car, I believe, for the number 19, and Nardol getting ready to change over there.
Yeah, and everyone readying themselves for that run. It's been a shame for the Baby Ross entry. It's not been a great weekend for them whatsoever, but there's confirmation on your screens, ladies and gents at home. The pit window has now opened. Some drivers may get to the lane nice and early for the single driver combinations, the 5 or the 4. It's not really going to matter. The main concern for those drivers will be, what do we want to do with tyres? Do we want to go longer? Was this a green set of tyres to start this race? And if so, do we want to take them a little bit further into the race before we come back to maybe a scrub set of tyres? So they might go a fair bit longer. But for the meantime, race leader will not be coming to the lane. Chen Yabut is looking to continue to extend that lead margin, and we might see... No, we're not going to stay with that shot just to see if the driver's in the background. It's about a 12-second lead right now when Kachonsak's managed to pull away from Thanapatra. Thanapatra and Chatrafol are going to make their way into the pit lane. Confirmation of that. And more black and white flag warnings coming the way of the 57 car. So there's a few cars that have now been warned by the stewards as pit lane starts to become a lot more busy. First pit stops of the day in. Now it's time for the team members to go to work, get their drivers in, make sure they time their pit stops to perfection, and no concern for hitting pit boards. That's what they're there for.
It's a visual indicator of what. But again, the pit lane isn't too busy here in the Super Compact, which is, I guess, not too many personnel needed across the line. Because it really is, just getting the drivers swapped over. So we've got the team member here diving in from the pit garage side to help with the belts there. You see now getting ready to go once again. Also, it's got 99 on one side, 14 on the other, I do believe. As that there in the background was a Honda City going through the pit lane, so that would be Tanawit in the Idemitsu Racing Team Thailand entry coming to the lane. So now, of course, the game of the compulsory pit stop times and durations. The fact that the pit stop is done, but they've got to wait here now as part of the method. Long lap time. There's a possibility here, I guess, that they might not go down a lap, although it'd be awfully close. In saying that, I think they might go down a lap. Is where the lead is Cheney Boots at. I don't think he's come to the pits this time, but we'll see here. Still waiting for now Tanner to leave the pits. I wonder if this is the most painful part of the pit stop cycle squad. Like, stop's all done, but they're waiting on the clock as the number 93, unfortunately, Aki back into the pits within the window,
well,
so they need to get it done, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is timing-wise, and now the 14 will get released. So don't forget, for those of you who are watching along at home, and might be your first time tuning in to the B-Quik Thailand Super Series, what's going to happen, and you're going to see this all day long for the classes with a 60-minute plus 1 lap duration. The Super Echoes are one of those. GTM, GT4s, another one in the GT3s later on. They're all going to have these pit stops. There's a 10-minute window starting from the moment the timer on your screen hits 35 and closing when the timer on your screen hits 25 minutes to go within that race. For drivers, for cars that have a 2-driver combination, they will have to do a driver swap. Race number 7, one driver will start the car. They will also do the qualifying for race number 7. Race number 8, the other driver will start the car. They'll do the qualifying for race number 8. All of the teams, as a part of the balanced performance right across the weekend, including success time that's added. So if they won the race yesterday, they get a longer pit stop here today, and it's timed from the time they cross the pit lane entry beacon all the way down through to the pit lane exit beacon. So it's a balanced performance measure. Try and keep the racing a little bit closer. Strategy plays into it as well. If you've got one faster driver, you're more likely to leave them out there as long as you possibly can. For Chaya, is going to come down after being in the pits a little bit earlier on and do his compulsory pit stop. So lots of different bits and pieces, and the pit stop times are extremely generous, as you've seen thus far. Reason for that? Safety. Everything we do in racing is about safety. Well, except for the actual racing stuff, Dan.
Yeah, the racing stuff can sometimes throw a couple of curveballs your way, that's for sure. And, well, there's been an update in the pits. You can see here John Sack also in the pit lane. And there we go. That's what I was looking to see. The 95, your race leader, Chanyabut, will bring it to the lane. So they're going to do about evens in the YK Motorsports BBR by Sunoco entry here. So Budamont, it'll be his turn to get behind the wheel and bring that car home to finish off the races. There we go, driver swap underway. Although, as you can see, despite the pit crew there helping out, looked to be in a bit of a rush. No rush whatsoever there, if I saw that correctly from Budamont. No need to be hasty there, as we also wait to see Chaya get ready to head out. Although that's a bit of tape. Is that on the one of the hood?
It's clips, lashes? Yeah. I think that might be a clip, yeah.
Or a fresh clip going in. Okay, so it just looked like it's putting some kind of like strip of tape down. As
the 80, that's the 80 coming into the pit lane.
Right, very good. There we go. So yeah, pit stop cycle is very much alive now with about 4.5 minutes left in it. Anyways, so get these driver swaps done. Tech it out. We'll be Adapong getting into this SPF K1 Racing Team entry. There we go. Driver out, driver in. Time to get the buckles all sorted now. And get yourself comfortable and get ready. As there we go, Budamont now standing by in the 95 to be released. And there we go. The controller will put up the boom at least, but that's more, I think, a thing just to say that, well, wait for a bit longer, but when you're ready, get to it. As there's Chaya released from the pit lane. Let's see, does that 33 build speed? That's looking a little slow to go, but that may just be the case of getting out of the bottom end of the rev range there, Scott.
I'm wondering whether or not somebody said that they found a few extra neutrals in the chat. No, I'm sitting here and wondering. I wonder whether or not they haven't lost a gear from that car, because if it's still maintaining pace, like it's still circulating, I'd say they've probably just lost a gear.
That's a possibility indeed. Budamont returns to the circuit in the race lead, and we'll get going there as a message on screen. The number 24 machine going to be in the next car. Tanaton and Girapat in the next baby. Oh no!
Nope.
never mind. Unfortunately, that's not made it to turn 3 even for the 33 of, pardon me, where are you again, Chaya? Trying to limp that thing back to the pits now. I think, unfortunately, that might just be the end of their race if it's come to a stop on the side of the circuit. Yeah, for the guys there at M&M, that's certainly not the way they wanted to see their season end. So,
well, it was a strong finish yesterday from that car too, Dan. Like they were high up in the points. They weren't necessarily an outright contender, but I think they might have been saving some of their tyres left over for today. And you can actually see he's left the hazard lights on there because he's not 100% sure what the pace looks like in this car. Maybe it's an electrical fault. Just the car keeps shutting down. They might have had overheating in one of the electrical systems as well, shutting down and coming back to life. Because normally, if you've got a car that's operating like that, it's not a clutch. It's well, I mean, it could still be a gear, but it's unlikely to be a gear when they try and select one of the gears, maybe the system D6 or something. But that's quite a rare problem. If anything, it's probably more likely an electrical fault of some description. So, interesting to note.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. I mean, as I said, possibilities could be endless in terms of exactly what's gone wrong there. Unfortunately, being remote commentary, we won't know for certain exactly what's happened as one of our teams working down the pits, and part of that is number 57 entry. In fact, it's basically our only car in the pits, at least of those still out towards the front of the field at this stage. Yeah. So, seeing there, 7, 8. Alternate already got in the car. What have you seen?
I've just popped up on the timing sheet. So remember how we're talking about safety and driver safety?
I see that.
Yeah, the number 14's been reported to the stewards. Now, that is Thanaroj, who's now behind the wheel. But that was Chatrafol, who was right up there and right in contention earlier on. And it's been reported the stewards unbuckling the seatbelts before coming to a stop. So that's dangerous. And I don't know whether or not there'll be some further action. That might not necessarily be something taken within the race, but the stewards will be wanting to clamp down on that to prevent drivers doing that in the future. Now, whether or not it was happening a little bit yesterday as well, it went unsighted by the stewards, which can absolutely sometimes happen. I don't know if you guys, the soccer stadium nearby, soccer referees miss things all the time. Football, some of you right around the globe. So sports fans absolutely aware of that. But this one's been reported to the stewards. So the stewards are aware of it this time as the pit lane window does close. And last of our drivers to do their pit stop was the 57 car with Otani behind the wheel. And that pit stop has come to conclusion, which means we have our condensed field and the 24, the Baby Boss entries back into the lane, unfortunately. Oh, this is on the onboard. Is this the 14 car?
Yeah, it is. Now, the thing is, I think I saw these belts. They came off way back towards pit entry.
Yeah.
So you can see there, the belts were pretty much already off. He just literally straight out of that chair. So I think, yeah, that does suggest a bit what was up with that one. Possibly.
Well, I suppose the real resolution as a part of that one is don't put an onboard camera in your car.
It potentially is incriminating, yes. Funnily enough, if you give everyone access to what's happening in your car, yeah, it can...
that's disappointing. But, I mean, it's an important tightening of the regulations, though, Dan.
Much like the lack of tightening. Well, you know, that's the opposite of the lack of the tightening in the belts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was a good opportunity to go for something as...
You tried.
Oh, that's a puff of smoke there. Hopefully that's nothing too serious.
That's the 93, I think?
I think I saw 93 too. Unfortunately, these light blue car numbers from these wide angle shots aren't... Yeah, 93. So
yeah, I recognise the livery. Yeah, and remember that's Aki.
Yeah, so just circulating to get laps on the board. Unfortunately for Aki, 2 laps down on our leaders. As we watched there, the 14. The Tanner Orange behind the wheel now. What can they do? Here we go.
Oh,
yeah, this is what I was going to show. Here we go. At pit entry. Got a moment. And bang. That's a hand on the belts and off. Ooh.
Well, it's not even... Okay, so if he was to fiddle with that belt, you could not sit down and say... You could say, I think he might be, but he could be just scratching himself at the end of the... You know, make a little bit of a scratching motion. The fact that the belt went over the shoulder, that's the key. That is the big no-no. And and I know that coming from an Australian perspective, I mean, you've obviously got viewers right around the world, but this was a hugely debated, hugely contested topic about what you can and what you can't do with driver's belts and V8 supercars. Now, it is something that's quite well locked down within GT3 regs in terms of everything right the world over. But again, same sort of thing. You've got a long pit stop. There's no need for it. You know, in a V8 supercar pit stop, there is a little bit of hustle and bustle going on around the car. If you end up with about 10-15 seconds left over, whereby there's just fuel going back into the car. So that sort of solves itself, but there is still a hustle and bustle around the car to get tyres off, get brake pads done. If you're doing brake pads on a V8 supercar endurance stop and tyres and driver swap at the same time, it's too much. I think they actually intentionally target a brake pad change without a driver swap going on to make sure that they avoid any of the issues. But yeah, belts and drivers is coming off during endurance race pit stops is one of the hotly contested topics, and drivers the world over will say, I just want to get the belts off so I'm ready to get out. Can't do it. It's unsafe.
I mean, yeah, I understand why you do it. It is all about speeding up the stop. Although, I guess you could argue with the compensation
There's
times.
no reason.
Yeah. Again, make sure you dot every I, cross every T, follow the procedure to every letter, and make sure you don't run afoul of anything like that there, because it could potentially cost them at least 5 seconds, maybe. I don't know exactly what the penalty would be. I mean, in saying that, it's been reported to the stewards. That's all we've got so far on that note. Haven't had anything come through yet about any further information there. Eyes on track here. Tanapatra running in second place. I have to say that the margin there, 23.5 seconds at the line already. And we do have 21 minutes left in this one. And then this fight for, well, it's a fight for third now, but the Kajonsak has 5-second penalty. Penalty may be coming for the number 14 machine, who will use all of the track and then some, and then the lunge up the inside at 5, but no dice this time.
Well, guess what?
Gets the run.
The 14 just noted, and I think that one on screen might have actually been the penalty, the one that brought about the black and white flag now for the car number 14. So wasn't reported to the stewards for exceeding track limits. That has now changed as a result of the overtaking attempt. That was absolutely an abuse of the track limits. And good news is they're both back on level pegging now. Neither of them have got the opportunity to use the available extra. Should we say extra track areas? I was going to say extracurricular, but it's not really a course, is it? So
yeah, it might have been that one. It might not have been. We do have a bit of a desync between, because with our live timing page, the live timing has the race remaining time as well as what we can see here on screen. There we go. It comes up now on the feed here. So yeah, that's probably, that might have actually done it in saying that though. But that actually,
that was about the right time.
The timing makes about sense. But yeah, just I'm thinking like, I see that, and then I see it's happened there.
Oh no!
Oh, what have we got?
That was smokes coming for the.
Yeah,
it might have been tyre smoke.
Yeah, I think we might have got away with that one there for Adapong. Let's watch here through turn 1. Do we get any more of that? And hopefully we'll stay with this car here. Yeah, oh yeah, okay. That's the left rear then, presumably. A lot of gut. Yeah, in fact, you can see it there on the exit of the corner coming from that left rear corner. Presumably tyre, because that definitely flared as the car rolled through the corner there. As we've had a change for third place on the track. Looks like Tanner Rog through on Kajonsak, whilst we've been looking elsewhere on the track.
And the key part was the car, you just sort of went through that shot as they come up to turn number 4, was Thanapatra's only just down the road. And in terms of lap times, Thanaraj last time I was a 1:58.577. Another track limits warning is going to come up in just a few moments. So he's a second faster than everyone else out there at the moment. Only 4 seconds up the road too for Thanaraj to go chasing Thanapatra. And I think this next time by, albeit I think the race win might have gone. But then again, if Budimont starts to drift in terms of his lap times, it may not necessarily. Yeah, that's the warning I was just talking about from the number 23 car, which has got, I believe it'll be Newton at the wheel, down in 9th place. And critically for Aki, I mean, he's still circulating at this point in time. It is going to be a top 10 performance just because he's managed to keep that car going. Yeah,
is unfortunately in a race of his own per se. A lap behind Newt and a lap ahead of who is Tanner Thorne, apparently behind the wheel of 24
yeah.
in behind him. Well, in saying that, timing updates to say that Aki's only 46 seconds behind Nuke. So, possibilities there, as that looks like, there we go, we've got, that's at the Honda City of Tanner Witt and Nardole racing there, and that would be an exchange of position. 7th place now in the hands of the number 19 for Toyota Gazoo Racing Team Thailand.
Well, I don't know if it's in the hands of that car for very much longer, because they're certainly incredibly close out on track. Love that big old wing strapped to the rear end of the city there. Tell you what, I wish I could just walk out, strap one to the rear end of my car, and immediately extract performance in terms of things at this point. But though it's yeah, I mean, look at Budamont driving exceptionally well. Job done by teammate Chanya Boot. Led the race for an exceptional portion of that opening stanza. Now leads us as we complete 20 laps thus far today. And already starting to streak away is Nardole as well. So you'll see the change for position flash across your screen. And Thanawit is now on the hunt instead of being the hunted.
There's a flip back on screen. There's Aki in the background chasing out of home. Unfortunately, not for position, but it would get him a lap back on the number 80 at least. Once again, leaning through his wheel. And actually, you see it a bit there from Aki's car as well. So several drivers here, tyre pressures, tyre guards there, just pushing the limits of what fits there in the guard perhaps, and just giving us a bit of a smoke show, which is not quite the one we normally like to see, because that's quite pronounced there. And again, a lot of these corners, long leaning turns. There's a bit of a extra run on the track for Aki through turn 8. As he tries, really pushing in there, but looks like the track limits are certainly up for grabs there for the 93.
Tell you what you did miss yesterday, Dan, was actually some of the drift show from our Super Pickup C-Class drivers yesterday. It was the last race on, and it was under lights as well, so that was a unique experience. It was actually quite dark by the end of racing yesterday, but they put it on a drift show. Lap 1, turn 1, you've got 22 Super Pickups on the run down to turn number 3, and someone decided they wanted to lock the rears, go a little bit too deep on the run down to turn number 3, and basically brake locked the entirety of the first half of the corner around the outside. It was a pretty show. In terms of things, Formula Drift is probably looking at its potential newest Thai recruit, but yeah, that was certainly fun in terms of things, and the Super Pickups are going to feature again. I think the last class today is actually going to be the other class from the Super Pickup drivers as well. It'll be the A and B class drivers to round everything off. Had points coming in slowly as well, ladies and gents, so we will get the updates to you for a lot of the classes in the GT4 category. We just saw points for that just a few moments ago, so we'll keep you up to date as much as we possibly can. Thanapatra going to get down to the inside of a lapped car at that point in time and clear that, and that's the 23 car. The Toyota Yaris or Toyota Gazoo Racing Team Thailand. No, sorry, that one's, my apologies, the R2 Racing Team. Toyota Yaris with Newt behind the wheel. But have a look at the guys in behind. You know, he's trying to clear him as they go through 9, 10, and 11, because this is a battle for position. They did manage to get around him, and Thanaroj, I think it was, trying to use him as a bit of a pick to provide some sort of a gap back to Kajonsak. And that looks like the Baby Boss Garage entry sitting in the garage might just now be done for the 24 car. No, still circulating at this point in time, so back out there and on track. But the Baby Boss Garage crew members getting a little bit comfortable back down in pit lane.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can stay comfy, because you don't want to have to come out for any additional service if you can avoid it here, as John Sack still sticking with Tanner Raj, and they're actually getting a little closer there to Tanner Patra. And I have to say, really bad lap actually from Tanner Patra last time around. 2:0 for the number 5 car. It's just ahead of these two that we're focusing on versus 1:58. It's about 1.2 seconds, but that's a healthy chunk of time lost there. And same for the leader in Budamont, but when you've got 23.5 seconds, Budamont technically gained a little bit on Tanapatra. The 95 can afford to probably just make sure it gets home from here, as, yeah, very much a fight for second on the road, but with one penalty confirmed. And, I actually just go up and look at my timing screen, Scott. How's this? driver 2 of the number 14, which presumably would be Chatrafol, which is literally the second driver on our timing screens, has been ordered to report to race control after the conclusion of the race.
There you go. So that'll be Chatrafol for his pit lane entry infringement. Have a look at what it looks like from the office of the race officials. I think there's a few officials, down there, maybe taking on a few notes, learning bits and pieces, or perhaps they're scheduled for races later on in the day to keep an eye on things. Eagle-eyed officials don't miss very much, and when you take your belts off that early, unfortunately, you're going to have a bad time. But for the lap times right now, we'll get another update as they come back to the start-finish line. The gap starts to eke away. 12 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock as they cross the start-finish line for one more time. And I thought I saw a 57 black and white flag earlier on in the day. Apparently I didn't. I must have missed it up with another car. But for Ortoni now, has been shown the black and white flag. Stay on track, stay within the boundaries of the white lines as we run off of turn number 1. The kink at turn 2 is now going to play host to 3 cars bearing down on it in the last lap time by 59.0. So the lap car did a little bit get in the way there for Thanapatra, and that smoke is getting worse for the number 80, not better.
Yeah,
That's no longer looking white.
Yeah, no, that has definitely got an oily haze to it. I think needs to refresh. Yeah, look at that. Look at the cloud. It's leaving down. Yeah, no, that's actually puffing constantly. There's a possibility it's tight. No,
that's tire smoke there. There was some whiter smoke come through there for sure. So I think it's it.
Oh, there, left and right sides of the rear bumper, Scott. Are we dealing with both a tire and something coming from the exhaust at the same time here?
I mean, it could be the camera angle. We could be being deceived as well. Oh no, Thanapatra is now going to be warned for his excessive use of track limits as well. So that battle for second place starts to heat up. And
that looks like the exhaust. Where is the exhaust pipe on that number 8 machine?
There's 2. There's one either side, I think.
Well, that just makes my life a little harder. And no, that's in the center. I should say big thank you to whoever was handling that camera there and attempted to zoom in on the bottom of the bumper of the number 80 machine, try and get a read on how that what the deal is with the car there. But well, fingers crossed they can make it to the end, but they've got to go 10 minutes to be able to get there. As we watch the number 57 and 24 now, unfortunately, through the 24 of Tanner Braun down there in 11th place. 57 of Orthony is up in P6, so it won't do much. As here we go, Thanapatra is now going to have to go full defensive from Tanarot here down towards turn 3, and already covers middle of the road. Will he go further? He looks in the mirror for a second, Scott. Middle of the road will have to do, it seems. So there we go. Attack into the hairpin. Round the outside. Can't make it work, though, as they try and get back on the power on exit. And yeah, these drivers have all got black and white. Well, these two here.
Yeah.
I should say, sorry.
All 3 of them. All 3 of them.
2 warnings, 1 penalty already. They can't afford to drive too aggressively here. Got to survive this final 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, now it's going to be on between Thanapatra and Thanaroj. And I will say, earlier on in the race, if you noticed, you were keeping half an eye on covers to the inside. Thanapatra swings it back to the right-hand side of the track as wide as he possibly can. Tries to open up the middle of the corner. A little bit of track limits on the verge there potentially for Thanapatra, but I think the power, or at least the line that Thanaroj, you can see they're struggling for understeer now at the front end of those cars. There was a lot more wheel angle than there was turn. Covers to the middle of the road, moves back to the racing line. This is becoming aggressive. Does he get the overlap? Just about gets the overlap as they get down here into turn number 9. The 14 to the inside now. Thanapatra and Thanaroj are going to go toe-to-toe, and Kajonsak comes in the background as well, looking for a little bit of run. The crisscross, they're still side by side. Finally, it's going to be Thanapatra who gets the nose back ahead. It's a 3-way stoush. 8.5 minutes left on the clock, plus 1 lap. Thanapatra leads us back to turn number 12, this time by. But I was trying to say, and I was trying to work in the behalf of Thanaroj behind the wheel. It might have actually been his teammate, Chatrafol, earlier on in the race, racing against Kajonsak. Actually was holding the momentum around turn number 3 extremely well. And you mentioned it as well, the shifting capabilities of that Ford Fiesta, not a paddle shift. We've got 3 very distinct race cars and different approaches to going racing here, and it is culminating in a battle for the ages to end the series for the Super Compacts for your B-Quik Thailand Super Series.
Watch them here up towards turn 3 this time. For John Sack here early on in the race, he was favouring the wide entries. Here we go. Tanaroj gets the inside of Tanapatra, who doesn't defend it fully. They park up on the apex. Where's that number 5? There it is. Long way around, but it's not going to work too far out for Kajonsak to make something stick. So the exchange will happen between the 14 and the 5. And let's see here now, though, because that was a decent run for Tanapatra, it seems. He's going to look inside as we come up towards the Kinga turn 4. Pinch. They swing wide as they get back towards the racing line. The number 5 gets through, but the crisscross for turn 5 itself here, potentially from Tanaroj, but covered by Tanapatra. That brings Kajonsak back into this one after he dropped a bit of a gap there off of turn 3 on that occasion. It looks like here that really going wide isn't working. Maybe Marble's starting to build up out there already, Scott, after the racing so far yesterday and today now as well. Maybe just a whole momentum thing. This car's not fast enough to make the super wide line work.
But look at them wiggling all across the road in terms of the braking zone. It looks like Thanapatra's taking it a fair bit deep. It was this same move last lap by. Well, he's going to try a mirror image of it. Back to the inside for Thanaroj. And Kajonsak just about buying into the argument. They were 3 wide for a half a moment at the middle of 10. And yet again, Thanapatra proving that the stout defense of the Insane Motorsport CRZ still managing to hang on to the lead from this one. It's going to still be the battle back, though, by the YK Motorsports Honda CRZ and the Ford Fiesta in the background.
Bad exit.
Kajonsak.
Bad exit for Tanapatra there. That opens up the inside for Tanaroj here. 6 minutes and change left as into turn 1. This time it'll be here, the opening corner of the circuit. The Tanaroj makes his move. He gets the job done. And now, is Tanapatra vulnerable to Kajonsak, or has he got enough of a run and enough draft again to just range up on the back bumper? I saw that too. Oh, he's gone. Big trouble for Kajonsak.
Oh, that's frustrating for Kajonsak. That is hugely frustrating. 6 minutes left in the season, and he has a breakdown on the run down to turn number 3. Got the drive off. You know what? Wonder whether or not that's a H-pattern issue. He's missed a shift. He's gone for something. Hasn't quite got it into the gear, and he's going to look for the escape road off the exit of turn 3. My word.
Well, glad to see he can get it back and out of the way. It means the racing can continue here on track between these two. And here we go. Tanapatra looking to the outside for a better run through turn 5. But, well, I don't know about you, but I've just had a look up at my screen, and I think it'll come up on screen in a second. But I didn't get a chance to say it when he was defending here through turns 9 and 10 last lap. It looked like he might have pushed the limits a bit. And I'm just kind of waiting for the news to go. Or shall we just say it at this point?
I think we just say it. I think we've got to. I think the fans are left on the edge of their seats by the racing that we're witnessing. And unfortunately, for Thanapatra's number 5, 5-second post-race penalty for exceeding track limits. So this no longer becomes an on-track stoush. Well, forget that. He wants line glory. He's not too worried about the penalty. If you've got 5 seconds at this point in time, there's a bit of a gap now back to the 80th Adapong, who's going to move up into 4th place at the conclusion of this lap on your timing sheet. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. It's a little bit academic, this battle out on track because of that penalty now, but screw it. I mean, minutes left in the season. Time to show your wares. If you haven't shown them all season, get them on display right now.
Yeah, as we watch here through turn 1 once again. That time, though, Tanaroj looking a lot stronger than Tanapatra. But again, the draft, or something about that Insane Motorsport CRZ, it's got a lot of go in a straight line, closing back up. This time not close enough to make a full move of it into turn 3, but forces a middle of the road entry from Tanaroj, who then runs a little deep in, but he can double apex the hairpin here, and then actually benefits a little bit on corner exit initially. Although you can see Tanapatra continuing to try and be a nuisance in the mirrors there, that's for sure. Staying inside, gets back in the draft though as they make the run towards turn 4 here with 3.5 minutes left.
Time's starting to expire. as everyone's getting closer and closer to that line. We haven't talked about Budamont and the 95 entry an extended period of time because it's just been class of the field and comfortable for the YK Motorsports BBR by Sunoco entry. The Honda CRZ at this stage, don't give it up because we've already seen a number of issues up and down the field. Teammates in the middle of this battle for P2 on track at the moment. I wonder if anyone's actually told Thenaroj that there is a 5-second penalty for the number 5 who swings wide as they run down into turn number 9. The right-hander that doubles back across on itself, then the left-hander through the dip. Up and over the crest at turn number 11. And finally, the run down to turn number 12 and slowest corner on the racetrack. Switches back to the right, really trying to fill that rear view mirror. And for the number 5 of Thanapatra, the Insane Motorsport CRZ, I tell you what, there were streaks of red paint flashing in that rear view mirror for the 14.
I've got to wonder. I mean, yes, this is maximum aggression from Thanapatra, which is what I look forward to seeing. Is he maybe trying to force an error? Because don't forget, the 14 is on a warning here. Oh, another car is broken down. It looks like
it's 23
in there. The Gazoo. No, that's not quite apologies. Number 23.
R2 Racing.
Yeah, the R2 Racing team. Yeah, my apologies there. Unfortunately, our second of the Honda Toyota Yaris in this race. Pulling over on the exit of turn 3 here, so have to be careful. We're going to get yellow flags potentially here, which will completely prevent any movers. There we go. Yep, that's the parked up car. Presumably, for Thanapatra, I wouldn't be going too close to a parked car like that on quarter exit, but clearly opting for the straightest possible run before he then moves back over into the draft of Thanaroj. But I was just going to say, don't forget the 14 also has the black and white flag for exceeding track limits. So Thanaroj cannot put a foot wrong. And maybe that's what the attempt is here from Thanapatra, is just force an error. And then, hey, technically it is on track because both cars are going to get penalised the same after the race.
Let him go. Harass him. Why not? From the 14's perspective, why? Well, I mean, let him go. At the moment, you're going to finish P1 and P2 for the YK Motorsports BBR by Sunoco. Teammates currently 1 and 2 on the road. And there's confirmation once again of the comfort of the lead and the timings for the 95 machine with Budamont now behind the wheel. 35 seconds. We'll get 2 more laps. It's been 8 races this season. It's been 8 one-hour-long races. It's been 8 additional laps added to the end of things. There were safety cars aplenty when the Super Compacts went to Bong Sen. It was outright raw speed, as they've been to Buriram for the rest of the rounds this season. 6 races from Buriram, 2 races from the Bong Sen street circuit. And is that a slowing number 5? I think that's a slowing number 5 for Thanapatra. Something's going on. Yeah, he's nowhere near the 14 now.
He's lost 4 seconds on that last lap. Is it a waving of the white flag? No, that's very slow. Oh no,
he's not going to make the line.
Have they pushed that car too hard? And yeah, now in limp home mode. So Thanaroj now just needs to finish it off to make it nice and see. Because yeah, that's now. Is that even going to make it to the runoff at turn 3? Because that's
no.
That's going to make it to not even turn 2, because there's turn 2 now. Just going to have to park it off in the asphalt runoff, and unfortunately, that is the end of any fight for second place. It'll promote Adapong to third as a result, but now we can put our eyes on Budamont. Still got a lap and a half to go here, Scott. I guess, what's the saying again? No news is good news, even in racing. If you're not on screen, it means you're doing such a good job. If you're the leader, that is, that there's actually interesting things to look at elsewhere. So I think now this might just be a bit of a chance to enjoy a victory lap, keeping our eyes on the 95 here to wrap things up. There's one lap and 1 corner left here for this race.
Well, I mean, I'm just so good. There's more smoke. There's more smoke on the run into turn number 1. And that is blue smoke for sure. The final lap board for the final time in 2023 gets displayed to the Thailand Super Series Super Compacts as the run down to turn number 1. Budamont's got control of the field. The 14 entry, the YK Motorsports BBR by Sunoco's, they're going to dominate today. on the final race of the championship, 17th of December 2023. Super compact class dominated by the 95 and the 14 entries. It's been a phenomenal season of racing. They've provided us hours worth of content all season long. And for the 95 car, I'm sure you can see the smoke coming up. I'm wondering, well, I mean, surely it's too far back for the number 5. Surely he pulled it up. There was no smoke there. There's still the car off to the left-hand side as they come off of turn number 3, and that's Aki, who will make the line. And he's going to make the line in 8th place, mind you, just by keeping his car alive. Unfortunately, I get the feeling Thenapatra's too far ahead for him to grab one more spot, but final lap of 2023 for the Super Compact. It'll be a little bit of a lap of celebration, I think, for Budamont.
Yep, Aki will actually let Budamont through here. Nope, not quite. Oh, there it is, yep. Aki's there somewhere. There we go. Aki's there now. Yeah, would you like to believe the number 80 of Adapong was not too far up the road?
That's him!
From Budamont, and that's why, oh my days, is that car going to make it to the finish?
Well, remember talking about that, what was it, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, it was not that's definitely gone from not looking healthy to, oh my days, might want to let the leader through and just finish a lap early, because, he's just, dropping smoke, dropping maybe oil now or something at some point, because he's certainly trying to stuff it. And there we go. Oh, is that car? Can it make it home? Don't even know. But eyes on the race leader, I think, here, Scott, now with the last corner negotiated for Budamont. The checkered flag is now all his in the number 95, along with Chanyi Boot. They win the final race of the Super Compact season here for the B-Quik Thailand Super Series in 2023. Tanaroj will bring the number 14 home. Although, interesting, timing glitch, I think, of some guys. There we go, the 80 limps its way something fierce across the line. Thankfully, not far out of the final turn. And the number 80 will park up on the pit wall there.
Jump on and celebrate. Jump on and tell him what a great job that he's done for the season. Celebrate with your drivers. Don't hesitate to say words of encouragement. Don't hesitate to celebrate the moments that are possible in racing. And I can't recall witnessing a race of that style in such a long time. We lost so many cars, Dan. I'm wondering whether or not it's laziness in the back end of the season, over-revving. Because you don't lose that many cars from maintenance, right? Well, there's the 80 car. That's coming from the engine bay.
Yep, that has definitely progressed from the rear to the front. I mean, look, maybe. I don't know if we've got any kind of shift protection, but that seems unlikely even for the cars that have sequential gearboxes. So I guess, yeah, that could be a possibility there. Just a case of trying to get to the end of the... Well, in that case, not trying to get to the end of the race. They kind of made a bit of a mistake there in the way they handled that one there, perhaps. But here is the classification now on the screen. Chanyi Boot Budamont take the race win from Chatrafol and Tanaroj. Tana Whip in the number 15 there. Although apparently on my screens, they're classified as 5th on the timing at it. So maybe some things to iron out there. But as you said, yeah, 3 cars not starting, at least another 3 cars retiring early, another 3 cars retiring mid-race, plus the 80 of Adapong barely getting to the finish. So, yeah, attrition's certainly the name of the game here in the Thailand Super Compact final race of the season.
Well, they don't have to get those. It depends. How many of those cars are going on to the 24 hours of Buriram next weekend? Is my next question. And what were they expecting those cars to do? They've got a week, which is enough time to rescue the cars and get them back out there and circulating again. But my word, you'd be wondered about the reliability of some of those super compact cars. The drivers in their final outing for the season, all the energy you could have wanted. This was the run down to turn number 1. It was Thanapatra who led the way nice and early, but then the Baby Boss entry took control in the 24 car. For Jurapat, unfortunately for that car, it would not last too much longer throughout the race. Would end up finishing, but not after took multiple required pit stops. How good was the overtaking? How good was the racing? As the BBR by Sunoco entries battled with Kajonsak in the 4 Ford Fiesta. And gives away belong to the fans watching along at home. And then it started off the first of many retirements. The 33 of Chai would fail to find drive, and the team would try and diagnose all the best that they possibly could. Contact between the 4 and 5. Kajonsak and Thanapatra, the 2 single driver outfits, would on the run down to turn number 1. And then for the 14 entry, taking the belts off right as they entered pit lane. That's being reviewed by the stewards. Not sure what the penalty is going to be. And you can see the crime very clearly displayed. The teammate getting in to strap the driver in. That was phenomenal vision to sort of see. And then they sat there for an extended period of time. Begs the question. The 80 car made the finish line, and that was the pit stop for those guys. How good was this 3-way stoush? It was Thanapatra, Kajonsak, and then Thanaroj who got in the car for the number 14 entry. Finally got the job down at turn number 3, got the nose ahead and looked reasonably comfortable from there on out. It was going to be Kajonsak in the background. It would blow up, unfortunately, only a couple laps later. In the meantime, the 95 car continued to show a clean pair of heels. Chenny Boot headed the car over to Boudamont, and Boudamont drove it to the line to win in comfortable fashion. And I get the feeling, with the amount of oil slicking around on that track, Dan, there's some investigations to double check to make sure that the grip level hasn't been reduced out and around the circuit. My word.
Yeah, indeed. There might be a bit of cleanup that needs to be done, which means we might be slightly delayed with the Thailand supercar, which is coming up next. Our GT3, GTM, GT4, and GTC drivers all thrown out on track at the same time for 10 minutes to get their eye in. There, it makes for a 35-car combined field when they do their warm-up there. As a result, Scott, I think what we might do is we might take a short break here on the English feed as we wait for our next on-track action. It will be the Thailand Super Eco coming up next for their final race of the season with 12 laps around the Chang International. But stand by on that one. We'll confirm that for a second. In the meantime, we'll let this play through here as the local team have a chat to some of our drivers here on the track.
Yeah, this is goody. How good! It's been awesome walking at his smile all weekend. Yeah, otherwise, ladies and gents, we'll leave you with the pictures from the track for just a few moments. It's been awesome seeing some of the garages up and down the field, some of the drivers as well. And in terms of things, there was the 95 car just in the background. Chanya Boot and Boudamont would be celebrating race win. Yeah, you know what, Dan? We will cut away to a break. We might just take a little bit of a relaxation, sit back, settle, and enjoy with some of the footage on the ground from Thailand.
the first implementation of a halo. The transparent halo in iRacing is one of its most controversial in-car settings. But what if I told you the transparent halo is the most realistic option? Let me explain. With iRacing's inclusion of the Mercedes W12 back in late 2021, along with it came the first implementation of a halo in the sim. At first, there was no way to minimize the halo, leaving it as a visual obstruction. But when finally iRacing made the option to make it transparent, the debate began about how realistic this was. To settle this debate, let's go back to a Reddit post from around 2018. Yes, I use Reddit as evidence, fight me. Their calculations show that with the halo there is no occlusion zone, meaning that there is no place in front of the halo where neither the left nor the right eye can see. The problem is, no matter how hard we try, we can't show that on a 2D screen in a simulator. So therefore, the best way to model real life is not to take away vision, but to give it back. Because leaving the halo opaque would leave an occlusion zone that just simply doesn't exist in real life.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gents. We move into the Super Ecos from the Super Compacts, and for me, out of all the racing that we got to see yesterday, this was the highlight. It was some of the cleanest, tidiest racing. With, I think we ended up with a, what do you want to
Good morning, guys. Quick update from pit lane. So it's great to see the 3 cars involved in the incident yesterday from GT3 out for the warm-up this morning, and all seem to be circulating very well. We do have quite a stiffish breeze across the circuit at the moment, which is keeping temperatures down. So air temperature's about 28, 29 at the moment, and track temperature only 1 or 2 degrees
in the overall. C plus will be in the orange, and the pink will denote your C class drivers. Dan, you missed a treat yesterday. This was for 12 laps from a standing start, the run down to turn number 1, how close these cars are. It was clean. It was on the limit, but it was the limit. You're good there, Dan?
Mostly. Yeah, sorry. I've just... So I was queuing up a video from our English producer, supporter, Troy Williams, who's on the ground thanks to Speed Cafe this weekend. And I thought I was queuing the video up and no one could hear it. No, lo and behold, everyone could hear it because I've got the stream going just to make sure. And all of a sudden I hear his voice coming through and I went, wait a second. He shouldn't be coming through. So apologies, I've kind of half cut you off there with that extra sound. So that was an update. That's an update on weather conditions and also some information, after some cars that unfortunately ended up in an incident in the Thailand supercar categories. But at the very least, we might play that shortly, or I guess at any point now, to hear from Troy, mainly about the weather and how things are feeling down at the track. Because it is still morning in Thailand. It might be 2:20 in the afternoon for you and I here on the east coast of Australia, but it's 10:20 a.m. at the Chang International Circuit. So, shall I get that one ready and we'll actually let that one play out properly?
You're in charge of the show. I'm just here. I'm just here to witness. I'm here along to enjoy some racing.
That you are, which is a bit interesting, but alas, it is what it is. So, with further ado then, we'll let Troy Williams from the Chang International Circuit on behalf of SpeedCafe.com take it away here for a quick update on how things are going there.
Good morning, guys. Quick update from pit lane. So it's great to see the 3 cars involved in the incident yesterday from GT3 out for the warm-up this morning, and all seem to be circulating very well. We do have quite a stiffish breeze across the circuit at the moment, which is keeping temperatures down. So air temperature is about 28, 29 at the moment, and track temperature only 1 or 2 degrees more. So it's quite a pleasant day down here, and although the forecast is for 32 degrees plus at the moment, it's a lot cooler than that.
Well, yeah, that's the update track side. The forecast yesterday hit 32, 33. I think actually I was talking to Troy. I gave him a quick call just to chat some things post race yesterday. He said down at the Aston Martin Vantage spares container, it actually got up to 40 degrees at that container yesterday, but air temperature was, I believe, in the range of 32 to 34. Yesterday, recorded highest by our nearest weather station was only 32, so a little bit cooler here this morning than it was yesterday. Track temperature got up close to about that 40 degrees Celsius marker. And then 3 cars that Troy was actually talking there, ladies and gents, he misspoke on that one. He meant GTM because we're all thinking about the exact same 3 cars. We were discussing it pre-coming to the Super Ecos right here, Dan. But it was the Moncol Motorsports car, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the 77 car, and then the 24, I believe it was, also from the GTM category was the Lexus that was out there as well. So we will see all 3 of those cars repaired and running today, but these are some of the best racing that you are about to see out of Thailand in cars that should be getting around on the city streets. Nope. They have been blended, perfected, pushed out into the race, and some of them are desperately trying to keep those cabins as cool as they possibly can, Dan.
Oh yeah, that they will be. Yes, they've only got to do an 8-lap race here today to finish off their season. But certainly, from the stories you hear of cars car cabins getting extremely hot and uncomfortable to be in at the worst of times. Without a doubt, yeah, you can. You need to make sure that, yeah, make it as comfortable as you can in there. So without a doubt, yeah, seeing the windshield blankers on there to try and reflect the sun away and such will be critical. And the doors wide open, of course, as well, to maybe allow some air to flow in from the sides.
Yeah, we're talking about it actually. Pete was saying that if the cars have probably got their doors shut and windows on them, likely they'll have some form of air conditioning to the cockpit as well, as Goody continues to walk up and down the field, talking to everything. I think Troy's actually in the middle of recording some more content. He's been active over there. I tell you what, I was harassing him yesterday. He was giving us the ins and outs. This is what it looks like cooling a driver's helmet. This is what it looks like, what all the cool rooms out the back and whatnot look like. This is the spares container. This is what a Super Eco looks like. Do you actually have the Super Eco video queued up from yesterday, Dan? It's
unfortunately, I don't think I was provided with yesterday's the videos.
That's all good. That's all good.
Actually, they'll be in the chat, aren't they? So I could potentially fish them out for you if you'd like. Need to also see if it's just an audio recording in the background. Yeah.
But one of the things I actually said to him was I spoke to him last night. Daniel Bilski earlier in the year was actually doing some of our on the ground coverage from the Bang Seng Grand Prix, and I said, oh yeah, you've got to go absolutely and try it and find one of those ice bars that they'll use at the end of the day. Very quick no from Troy Williams. No, I'm not doing it. I said, well, he said, we've got Daniel Bilski here. I'll get Daniel Bilski to jump in the ice bath. And Daniel Bilski gave him a resounding no. Is one of the ways that I would put that one. So basically, our guys over there not keen in testing out the ice bath facilities that some of the drivers may have on offer.
Well, interesting there. Well, speaking of Troy, he actually has just sent through an update from Super Eco today. So what we can do is we can throw that one up for you all on this one here, whilst Goody down at the circuit for the Thai coverage here of the Thailand Super Eco and the B-Quik Thailand Super Series on the whole is talking to the drivers there before Super Eco gets underway. So what I'll do is I'll press the magic button and we can listen in to Troy here once again for the update on Super Eco in particular.
So just down on the grid walk for the Super Eco race, a few of the combatants with a few battle scars from yesterday's amazing race. For the viewers that saw yesterday's race, what a cracker that was. Speaking to some of the teams, it seems that the Suzukis seem to be holding onto their tyres a bit better throughout the full length of the race, with the little Honda Brios maybe using up a bit more front tyre as the race progresses. So again, we'll probably look for a strong showing towards the end of the race from the Suzukis and the and in what position 4, I'm just looking right now. So yesterday my prediction for a race win was horrendously bad. So I'm not going to make any predictions today. Just going to sit back and enjoy this race. Back to you guys.
Well, there we are from Troy Williams down at the Chang International Circuit, Scott. And a big thanks to him for giving us some thoughts and understandings from the circuit there. So that's actually curious to note that despite we've got ourselves just an 8-lap race here today, that we might even see a bit of a 12-lap race. It's race 8 of the season. Let's get the numbers right here.
Race 8.
Going.
Yeah.
Race 8 of the season, 12 laps of racing around here. But the fact that we might see some drivers have actually differing tyre wearing and tyre wear to worry about. So that's going to be curious to see here and see if that plays out as suggested there from Troy.
One of the things he actually said yesterday, based upon his eco coverage, was that he actually thought that some of the cars with the longer wheelbase would actually hang on to their tyres a little bit better, a little bit more stable platform. They don't rotate quite as quickly. In terms of car balance, that's something you just go, okay, well, that's how they come out. We can't necessarily hit those guys with the balance of performance. The other thing I was actually doing, and I was digging around within the info feeds that they've actually provided us throughout the season thus far, is that this car category, much in the same vein as the Aussie racing cars, if any of you guys have actually ever seen those, they're phenomenal racing, tiny little cars. They have success ballast that carries the entire way through the season. If you win race number 1, your car is now X kilos heavier for the rest of the season. You don't get to go, oh, well, we finished 10th place in race number 2. We get to wipe that off. No, the car that finished first place in race number 2 is now the same weight as you, unless they're carrying over any extra success ballast. So for the end of the season, for all of these cars, this is the heaviest that any of them are going to be, because this is the final time that they will get success ballast tagged on. We're talking yesterday about who wants to find a race win, who wants to find a championship hidden under the tree. Well, the Thailand Super Series pace car may have one of those available for you. It's the 98 that'll be starting from pole position, and with the orange number on the board, that means it's the Eco C Plus driver of Chinovich who will be leading us away. Thanapatra Sudasawang is off alongside in the 55 entry, the first of our overall contenders. On row number 2 is going to be Danawat in the 95 entry. In the third of the Honda Brios, before off alongside of Danawat, we'll have Adapong in the first of the Suzuki Swifts. Ultimate lap pace coming the way of the Honda Brios. It'll be the Suzuki Swift that hopes to hang onto its tyres. From P number 5 is yesterday's race winner, was Hayden Haikal, who showed supreme speed and aggression down at turn number 3. He'll be hoping that maybe this is another race that he can go ahead and win off of P5 on the grid. Behind him, Chanik Nun managed to come home in second place yesterday. Will he manage to follow Hayden Haikal on the way through? The next driver on the grid, and Chanik Nun, by the way, the second of your C plus class drivers. Padawi will be the next one in class C plus, off of 7th place on the grid. And another of the Honda Brios for Taker SoCar Racing, before we get back to the 7 of Visit Pong. The second of the Taka SoCar Racing entries. Both of these drivers off from the 4th row of the grid. So the teammates back there a little bit deeper, and some team discussions about what do you do on the run to turn number 1. We'll find out. The 33 of Furipat for Seacratco in 9th position. Also the Honda Brio. And the 10th place driver is the 25 entry of Sathapond. This is the B-Quik Racing team. And 2 of these drivers, reminder that if you work for the B-Quik Corporation and you're out there changing tyres, Employee of the Year gets a race car drive for the following year. Bandit was aggressive, very, very aggressive with the track limits. Yesterday is going to be rounding out P number 11. And the third of the Suzuki Swifts will drop it back to Yacht Bunchu for Repsol Racing Team Thailand in his Honda Brio. And from there, we'll move back to Adapon in 13th place in the 26 entry, before we get back to Akarichai in the 68 on 14th on the grid for MRA Racing Team. And it'll be the 89 that'll be off from behind them on the 8th row of the grid for Varan Chit in the Toyota Yaris Ruck Team Service Nexta entry. You can see, look at the excitement levels as everyone's sort of getting through, and I believe doors are being closed. Everyone's getting ready. Last waves of the season for Pong Podge in the 52 Racing Garage entry, 16th on the grid, the only of the Eco C class entries. And the final row of the grid, the number 9 of Pruktakant in the Pipe Kids Racing entry, and the 17 of Akanet for Repsol Racing Team Thailand. Course has been inspected. Everything is about ready to go. 15-second board displayed from the rear of the field. And I think we will be rolling away on our formation lap in just a few moments. Dan, the drivers looked excited and ready to go for the first standing start of today's racing.
Indeed. And if I press the button so we actually get some sound, that might be smart, because I wouldn't want to keep it muted. Just as they begin to pull away here from their starting positions. As you said, yeah, 18 cars to take the grid. Majority in the C plus class. What is that? 5 drivers racing in the Eco class overall. And yeah, just Pong Podge today in the Eco class C there. So, well, I guess quote unquote, that'll be a pretty easy win there in class C. Although maybe that's taking a bit of a joke out of the situation there. But, well, if you missed our coverage of the Super Compact and you haven't seen the Chang International Circuit before, this is how it is laid out on your screens here. 4.5 kilometers, 12 turns clockwise direction as well. Big hairpin up here at turn 3. The drivers are heading to now in the background that is where the prime overtaking position is, but certainly don't count out the final corner of turn 12, as well as the middle part of the circuit. Hankook semi-slick tyres for our Super Ecos here, which will mean the grip is at a bit of a premium when they try and carry some speed. And once again, Scott, now the grid on screen as they begin and, well, continue this formation lap here.
Yeah, Chinovich and Thanapatra at the front row. Dadawat Natapong from row number 2. Before we get back to yesterday's race winner, and a phenomenal race it was for Hayden Haikal, and Chanaknan off alongside of him. Padawi, the 7th placed car on the field, the 79 entry, and Visitpong off alongside of him, the 7. Furipat, the 33 entry, deeper in the field. Last row inside the top 10, the 25 at South Pond as well. Bandit, deeper in the field in 11th. And Yacht rounds out your top 12. Atapoon in 13th and the 26th entry, off alongside of the 68 of Akurachai. In 14th, the 89 of Varanchit in 15th, and the 52 of Pong Podge in 16th. The final row of the grid, Puktakant in 17th in the number 9 Pipe Kids Racing entry, and Akanat, the 17 for Repsol Racing Team Thailand from the rear of the field. It's going to be a 12-lap extravaganza. This is what the formation lap looks like at this point in time, and the onboard footage from Hayden Haikal. He will get aggressive. Keep your eyes on the driver of the 24. He wanted to get deep on the brakes, and it led to him getting clear air. And the benefit of being at the front is, well, you don't have to send dive bombs all the time. You don't have to try and get the overtakes done. You've only got to defend, which makes it just that little bit easier, Dan. Lots of squabbling in this category.
If we thought there wasn't already lots of squabbling in the super compact small cars, maybe not so much in terms, lower power outputs. Very much makes every bit of momentum you can preserve all the more important. So, I'm not entirely shocked by that, and the fact that, well, I have had the privilege of commentating with you back at the Bang Sen Grand Prix, and we saw this class race there. Certainly nothing too crazy. Now, curious to see here. I actually need to get into a rolling start formation, or we can have a standing start for these guys.
Standing start.
That's right, it's a standing start for Super Eco. Because I was going to say that they've just come through turn 11 and they're all still spread out, and we would have seen, usually, the camera crew, the local team there at the circuit, they would have probably gone and picked up the marshal standing outside of turn 10 with the 2x2 board, if that was the case. So that's a friendly reminder to me to have made sure to brush up.
Here's your ballast going through the season, by the way. A race win nets you 25 kilos worth of ballast. No, it does get wiped out on the next race, so never mind, my apologies. It does get wiped out. I've sold you all up the garden pass. So race ballast only lasts for the one race. Your race winner from yesterday was the 24 of Hayden Haikal, and his first win of the season. Only had one other second place for the 56, picking up his... well, he's been on the podium a multitude of times in the 56 at Chanaknan. He's going to pick himself up. So it's 25 kilos for Hayden Haikal. It's going to be 15 kilos for second place and 10 kilos for the third place entry from yesterday's race, as they line up and they get themselves ready for the final race start of 2023. Your Thailand Super Ecos, my apologies, for the final time this season. It's going to be all about that run down to turn number 1. Green flag from the back of the grid. The lights start to come on. 12 laps of the Super Ecos. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen, because away they go in the final race of 2023. It's a good getaway from the rear end of the field. That's one of the B-Quik cars that got a great getaway from the front end. The 98 got a great jump, and it's the 55, the pink entry, whose phenomenal getaway is going to start us off on the inside from Thanapatra. Has to defend 4 wide as they get through turn number 1. From the second row of things, and everyone starts to file their way on. Race directors not caring whatsoever about who runs wide on the exit of turn number 1. Keep your eyes on Haikal. Doesn't quite have the same straight line speed he might have had yesterday. 25 extra kilos to contend with. But for the meantime, it's the 98 who's going to lead us away. Chinovich on the run down to turn number 3. To the inside now comes the 55 of Thanapatra. Tries to get down there, and you keep your eyes peeled, Dan, because the places in this one are going to change thick and fast. Keep your eyes open. As always, overtaking when it comes to the Ecos.
I think there was, 4 wide down to turn 3. The circuit just allowing them to spread out. And look at them, all bunched up in behind. Is that Thanapatra, as you said there? And indeed, that would make sense, leading car 55. Hayden Haikal trying to find his way around the outside through turn 4 there. as these cars get screaming. He's on board with Hayden now, and there he is, way out past the white lines. We'll see how much of a tolerance there is for liberties with the track limits here after may just be lap 1. They're allowed to just be a little feisty and sort themselves out. Too wide in the back of the field, but single file now starting to become enormous. Yeah, drivers just keeping their foot buried in the throttle, it seems, not caring for the white lines. Here on that one is Hayden looking for P2 there on what would be Chinovich, but not going to get through. Turns 8 or 9 on lap 1 here as they then stack up. Forgotten to say the car just on the curb of the grass as well.
My word. Who needs traction? Just decent tyres in the grass. There's going to be contact as Haikal gets to the inside now. The 24 on the run to the final corner and the 98. They're going to try and get down into the final corner. Hayden and Haikal to the inside of Chinovich. Does he manage to get the job done? Indeed, yes, he does. But for the meantime, the 55 is trying to check out at the front end of it. That is 1 lap in the books for the final time this season of your Thailand Super Ecos, and I think the only word that can describe them is super.
Not super compressed? Or
Super Sen? Super overtake?
Yeah, look, all right, you go super. I'll just try and see what we've got to deal with here, because again, more liberties taken with the track limits at turn 1 as they then head down towards the hairpin here at turn 3. Now, you reckon the top speed might be interesting here for Hayden Haikal. In fact, he's already trying for the race lead, but Tanapatra able to cover that one off before a clear line opened up into the hairpin. But I would have said ballast theoretically affects the handling, well, might be more prominently affecting the handling in a car that's as car class as small and as compact as this. As we're watching here, lovely chopper drone style footage here. You can see in the background, Channa Kun trying to get up the inside of Chinovich, and I think he has done so by turn 4, whilst we keep our eyes on the leaders through sweeping left-hander of turn 4 and on the brakes here in turn 5. Very much becoming a 2-horse race, it seems, as the fight's on for 3rd behind, and yet Channa Kun gets on through for that 3rd place position ahead of Chinovich in the 98. It's Hayden Haikal now up on the outside. Scott towards turn 8. Can he make it stick?
It's the run down to turn number 8 on the outside for Hayden Haikal. And this is important because Tanapatra was starting to skip clear. If Haikal can get the lead of this race, all of a sudden he just sense the pace that he's got. He's looked supreme this weekend. Wins race 1 yesterday. And now it's down to the field to try and chase and try and hang with him. It's the 55 and the 56. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on the 56 drove an amazing race yesterday to get back at the line for P number 2. And for right now, he's scrobbling over 3rd place to the inside. It's Tanapatra defending from Haikal. And Haikal just seeds that one on the braking zone into the final corner. Turns the car, sets himself up, and you can see how much curve they're using on both the inside and the outside of the Buriram International Circuit here. They'll pass the start-finish line, and it will be 9 laps left now to run. Sorry, my apologies. It is 10 laps left now to run as they run through turn number 1. Hayden Haikal is absolutely making use of all the available. Look, they provided him with space, and he used all of it.
Yeah, he didn't use all of it. He could have gone further, I guess, if he really wanted to. As 3 wide for 3rd place now, as I believe would that be Adapong, who's decided to join the party there and gets the Suzuki Swift up the inside through turn 2. As Tanapatra now covering again through the hairpin. Look at them, it's just this clump. That's 3rd, all the way back to at least, well, 9th. Throw in at least another 2 cars, it's 3rd through 11th in a cluster. And then 12, 13, 14, 15, I think, are just there as well. So, yeah, there's nothing. It was 3 wide now. So is that 6th place? As Haikal's on the gearbox of Tanapatra, and these guys have got to sort themselves out through the sweeping left-hander of turn 4. They'll just run it out past the curb. And then are we almost 4 wide here, Scott? Or are we 3 wide, 2 deep? Not quite either way as they come through turn 5. It's absolute bedlam out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, for those of you watching along, we have Lot Akanet, who was in the pit lane as it currently stands in the 52 of the Eco C car as well. Hayden Haikal, and quite understandably, has already been shown the black and white flag by the racing stewards to say, hey, you need to keep a little bit more inside the white lines, and there's somebody else that's about to get one, and it's going to be Adapong, who will be amongst those. Another car that was quite quick yesterday as well, of the 35. Now it's going to be that continued battle between the Brio and the Brio Amaze. It's the Amaze that led the way at the start of the lap, and for the first time this session, Hayden Highcal leads a lap. He led a lot of them yesterday, and for right now, he's got control of the field, and because of the supreme pace out in front, he set it up. This is what the pass looked like. Got to the inside at turn number 10. Sorry, got the outside at turn 10, gave him the run on the inside, and it was a late turn in there as well by the 55 that sort of set that one up. Now it's the run through turn number 1. The draft might just be picked up, though, by the 55 of Danapatra. We'll try and line it up, and how about this battle pack that's in behind them as well? The white cards just did not get a great getaway off of turn number 1, and the run down to turn number 3, that's going to be at least one spot. You feel a little bit bad for Channickner because he's just relegated to this spectator role in between the two packs.
Yep, stuck out in the open for now as both Hayden Highcal and Tanapatra will take it through turn 3, trying to open the entry up somewhat. But at the same time for Tanapatra, he's actually almost gets stuck on the curb a little bit there on corner exiters. There we go, 3 wide forming for P6. So that should be Puddley, Bandit and Dunawat or thereabouts as they build up speed, but then sort of back into single file there between them, and then still a bit of jostling though as they try and sort out who's going to lead this pack into turn 4. And side by side in behind, which would be for about 10th place or so in this one, and then side by side again into turn 5. And despite all of this, they're not losing a huge amount of ground, and a lot of cars still running wide. I kind of feel like I'm expecting to see a bevy of warnings from race control saying that drivers have got black and white flags for exceeding the track limits. Here.
Let them go. Just let them all go. Let them squabble over it as one of the absolute B-Quik cars gets a little bit of a contact. They squeeze him back now, and it's still 2 by 2 as they run down through turn number 8. The right-hander that starts to turn us back towards the final corner. It's turn 9. We come through the kink, and it looks flat from the aerial shot. There is a big old dip at turn 10, which is the left-hander, and up over the crest at the right-hand side of that shot as well for turn 11, and then the run down to home where they've absolutely got to pull these cars up nice and cleanly. And you look on board and you go, those two might be teammates in the background. I don't think there's going to be any love lost in the Super Ecos. You blink, you don't go for an overtake opportunity, Dan. You're going backwards. Yeah, no,
clearly being on your toes is the name of the game. As we see there, Dunham, I think that was the number 95. Currently, unfortunately for him, running last of our Eco overall entries there. Just gets through, I believe, into 8th place on Visipol there. Yes, indeed he did. And as you said, yeah, the B-Quik Racing Team Honda Brios of Satapond and Adapond. That's, I think, the order they were in when they started the lap. And then they're fending off now the Ruck Team Service next entry of Varun Shits. Oh, big lock though into the hairpin. Somehow we've avoided carnage.
Yeah, and for the 25 entry, Sathapond at the wheel locked a huge break on the run down to turn number 3. Well, it's not over and it's not done with. He's lost a couple spots out of it. It's the teammate of Adapond who now leads the way from the B-Quik driving team. And it's Varanchit in the middle of these guys as well. Check this out on the replay. This is a locked break. He thought he was okay, aimed for the gap. And how good's the vision from the car that was in behind him as well? It wasn't the 89 of Varanchit. It'll be the next driver behind, probably the 33 of Frupat as well, that just managed to cut through. That was great awareness from all involved down there. And what was a two-way battle for the lead, well, the fastest lap of the race was set last time by for the 56 and the blue car in the first of the Suzuki Swifts. So it's Brio Amaze, Brio Suzuki Swift at your top 3. And the 56 of Channickner has bought his way onto the back end of these guys, albeit a little bit of a mistake down there. And wide exit at turn number 9. The long flowing corners of the Buriram International Circuit make for phenomenal MotoGP racing, but I think they are second best. And it's one of the absolute cars. And that'll be the 25, surely, of Sathapond, who was dropping, and that's down at turn 4.
Change for the lead as well. Dive up the inside under brakes while we were looking at the replay. Tanapatra, well, got up there, but has had such a bad run through the corner. Looks like Hayden Highcal officially scored as leading the race across the line. 0.09 of a second to be precise there. And still, your top three fighting through turn one. You saw there at the bottom of the screen, the number 89 machine, which is in the hands of, pardon me, Valorant shit down in 12th place. The Ruck team service next to Toyota Yaris. Second driver to pick up the black and white flag for exceeding track limits. That replay there of the incident at turn 4 is also currently under investigation by the stewards. As there we go at the hairpin, Chanakun gets up the inside and takes a spot, but a rough run on the exit going to open up the outside for turn 4 again for Tanapatra, but he's got to now try and make the move stick the long way around here through this left-hander coming up.
Yeah, and another driver starting to make pace as well was the 79 who grabbed a spot on that lap into 6th place as Padawi sets the fastest lap of the race now and sets the track alight. They may have 7 laps left to go, but I tell you what, it feels like an eternity with how they're squabbling. And the benefit is, at least at the start-finish line that time by, blink and you'd miss it? No, you can blink an eye a little bit quicker than how close the two drivers were at the start-finish line. Is a notification coming through, though, for the driver of the 55 now for Thanapatra, who slots back into 3rd place. You've now been warned by the stewards as well, so you'll have to be a little bit careful. And Adapong starting to come back to the race leaders now as well. As was that a touch of dirt on the inside for Hayden Heikel down at turn number 8?
If it was, I didn't quite catch it myself, but I wouldn't be too surprised if he's throwing it into the apexes as hard as the car will accept, so that he can use all of the track and the tiniest little bit extra that he's allowed, given he's already picked up the black and white flag for exceeding the limits on the asphalt and the Astro and the exit curbs and such as they can press. And there you go, they'll kick the grass up on the inside of the final corner. Who gets the best run? Looks like the answer there is going to be Hayden Heikel. Initially gets the drive, it seems, in that number 24 machine. Is up, parked car off the side of the road, and I'm just trying to see. That was a Honda Brio. I can see that the number 9 of. Yep, there you go. Pruktakan. Unfortunately, the Pipe Kids Racing number 9 entry has ended up parked on the side of the road. As here we go for the lead now. Chanakun up the inside of Hayden Heikel. Who's best under the brakes is Scott at the hairpin for turn 3.
Well, keep your eyes on the 55 in the background, wiggling under brakes. They all went deep as they got down into turn number 3, and that's opened up a hole, and all of a sudden they squeeze. It's 3 wide for the race win. Half race distance. We are only halfway through this one. It's gone from a 2-way battle for the race lead. Heikel and Thanapatra squabbled about that race lead. It's allowed the 56 of Chanakun to come back into it, and Adapong's just looking for a way through, but when they're 3 wide in front, there's going to be no hole. They get down here now into turn number 4, and wide yet again goes Hayden Heikel, skipping over the curb, skipping sideways at the apex. He won't be the race leader because there's going to be a new race leader, Chanakun to the 4.
I'm a little concerned for Hayden Heikel's race prospects. If he's done that with a black and white flag hanging over his head, that probably translates to a 5-second time penalty. And he's currently in a 4-way fight for the lead. 3 more cars inside of 5 seconds of the race leader or thereabouts. If they keep fighting, they'll definitely all be within 5 seconds, and then he drops back to 7th or so at the end of the race. But he's not giving up yet, that's for sure, as he tries to find a bit of pressure on the back bumper of the 56 of Chanakun. Message has come through from race control as well, Scott, and that incident at turn 4 that we quickly got a replay of, and yes, it was the 25 B-Quik Racing Team Honda Brio of Satapon that was caught up in it. The other car appears to have been the 27 of Yacht Boonchu in the Repsol Racing Team Thailand Honda Brio, because that number 27 has picked up a driver. Oh, trouble with the final corner!
Bandit. I reckon that's... No, it's not Bandit. It was the other guys that were in the pack with him. It's the 98, I think.
79 Padawi parked across the road.
My word, there was a 3-way battle pack that was just in behind these guys. It was Bandit. I thought it was Chinovich that was in that battle pack as well. It was definitely the 79 was the other car. But Bandit's gotten away from that one. And guess what? He's now within 5 seconds of the race lead as well. Another warning coming through. Chanakun has now exceeded his shall we say, grace period with the track limits, and that's just come up on the screen at this point in time. Looking for the rotation back, gets underneath him. So the mid-corner speed and the mid-corner control that Hayden Highcall has got down at turn number 3, paying dividends. He tried this last time by the hand gesture across. Come on, we've got to work together. We've got to go, 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 because they want to run away from the cars that are in behind them. And he's going to lift out a little bit. No, there'll be no lifting out on the run down to turn number 4. It's going to be not slotting in. But they are enjoying things. And for Channington, there was not enough space there, so stewards will look kindly on that for Hayden Highcall, who get away with that one. But I wonder whether or not Channington might now start to find himself under a little bit of duress in the stewards' corner. It's a 4-way battle for the lead, and with less than 5 laps left to go, less than 20 Ks to go, Dan Yeaman, the Super Ecos light up the Thailand morning like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a question mark now. Racing and pushing the limits on the defense there was Channington. I'm going to see the replay of what happened at turn 12. Oh, out of P5 for the 79 of Padawi. So just unfortunately goes around, I think, one of the cars they're having to just go wide to try and dodge, and just barely able to do so. And it did shuffle the order in that second pack. It does now mean there is only one car that would probably be in line to take a place off either of our top 2 if they get a 5-second post-race penalty for track limits. And that now is Bandit in the number 19 machine. And just also seen coming through that what happened down at turn 12 will be investigated as well. So keep our eyes out for how that goes. There is contact on the exit 1.
My word, and there was hand gestures on the last lap saying, hey, we need to work, well, it looked like work together a little bit from Hayden Highcall. Go, mate, go, was effectively what he was trying to pass on to Channington. Well, now they've made contact, and with 4 laps left on the season, I think any gestures and any working together might now cease, because down to the inside goes Adapom trying to take away second place from Hayden Highcall. In the meantime, Channington leads the way in the Suzuki Swift. Again, it's not great drive off of turn number 3. He's joined by another of Suzuki Swifts in Adapong in P2 right now, but his biggest friend is going to be Hayden Highcall, and the Suzuki Swift drivers move across to work together. Opens up the corner on the run down to turn number 4 does Channington, and now Adapong's going to drop in there. Hayden Highcall gets to the inside, gets that spot back away, and now he led a few laps in the opening stanza of the race, but Thanapatra just becomes the spectator in the amaze at the back end of our top 4.
He's been quietly sitting back there, it feels like, for Thanapatra, as they weave their way now up through the middle third of the lap and prepare for the run back to the start-finish line. Yeah, we'll see here, because they can see on that particular occasion, Adapong not looking too great through turn 6, 7, 8, and up to turn 9. In fact, it's going to invite Thanapatra there to try and have a go at third place. And up side by side almost, but Adapong hangs on around the outside of turn 9 before they swing back here for turns 10 and 11, with Hayden Highcall already right back on the bumper of Channington. It will be 3 laps to go when they get to the line here. Start lap number 8. Start lap number 10 already of 12. That's how quickly the laps are going by now. On board with Highcall in your second placed entry. Gets a nice run initially off the corner, and then does he have to drive in the straight line speed down the front straight? No, but what can he do once we get out of turn 1 here, Scott?
Yep, down into turn number 1 for Hayden Highcall. Doesn't even touch the gear lever as they come through turn 1. Great drive initially off turn 1, carrying the speed very, very well in the Honda Brio Amaze on the run off of turn number 1. We'll see if there'll be any more hand gestures from Hayden Highcall as he checks his mirrors. He tries to find the space, a little bit of side drafting between the two as well as they try to disturb the wake of the car alongside. Now he's got to the inside for Hayden Highcall in the 56 of Channington. Going to try and double back, doesn't quite get the drive off. It's the drive off of the corners that's been Hayden Highcall's specialty. He's trying to line the cars up and get the run on down the straightaways. Well, now he gets a little bit of a draft as Channington. He starts to try and pull up alongside, and you can just see the closing rate. There's nothing in it as they run off of turn number 3 to the outside as they get to turn number 4. And here comes the 56 car looking for the switchback. Highcall carries a lot of entry speed, but now looking for the double back as well was Adapong. They all break in a straight line, and no one's sending it right now. Are they trying to time things up? Can Thanapatra be the spoiler in this? Can he sneak a podium in the 55 entry hanging off the back of our lead pack?
Oh, he might be able to, and I guess he's still sitting in P4. But tried for P3 last lap. Will he try for it again, or will he maybe just try and hold his cards close to his chest and save something for, as you said, the last lap, maybe the second last lap, perhaps? You try and set something up so you've got a lap to sort of settle in and defend. But through turn 10 once again, it looks like a bit of an advantage for Hayden Haikal. The margin extends, so only about 2 car lengths there to Chanakun, who then goes a little on the defensive, you think, but also potentially trying to double up there. In fact, he gets awfully close, it seems, before they hit the brakes for turn 12. So something up there with Haikal just all of a sudden losing his advantage, or just a little bit of draft these cars producing there, benefiting Chanakun quite nicely. 0.3 of a second between your top 2 across the line, and a second covering our top 4 as well.
Oh, we were 4 cars inside a second. It was basically 5 cars covered your top 11 yesterday, by the way, Dan. That's how close it was for the bulk of the race. Today, not even down to 8th place. There's a little bit of a spread out. And Varanchit, not on the most recent lap, on the previous time by, just went through and set a new fastest lap of the race. Let's go through the lap times. The last time by for your top 4. 10.397 for Hayden Haikal. 10.979 to 10.290 to 10.156 is your top 4. To 11.3 is Bandit in the 5th place entry, and the gap's starting to be pulled down as Varanchit is actually closing back up in. So we're going to have a battle for 5th and 6th place out on the road. Danawat's starting to go with those guys, but the battle that's now on screen is going to be Adapong for the first time. Gets his nose to the lead end of this race, and now it's going to be the 2 Suzuki Swifts on the run down to turn number 4. Haikal is absolutely not going to surrender that one from the inside, and Chanakun gets a return of serve a little bit from earlier on in the race when he was forcing Hayden Haikal wide as they ran down through turn number 4. Crisscross at turn 5, and back down to the inside now for Hayden Haikal as they turn to run through the second half of the course. There is going to be about 6 kilometers left of racing to finish this one out, and it's Hayden Haikal and Adapong who go toe-to-toe. It's 2x2 for your top 4.
Oh my goodness, this is what you like to see though. Just the barest amount of space left. No holds barred. There's the contact though. Oh, front tire to front tire. Looks like they might have both got away with that one here. Let's hope to see in a second, because Haikal trying to hang on a second. Adapong still trying to hang on to the race lead here. And Chanakun, who tried for a move at turn 3, the biggest loser going back from second to third in all of this one. Thanapatra still biding his time as they come up to the final corner. They swing across to open the entry. Another contact. This time it's the left rear of Adapong getting into Hayden Haikal's right front as the final lap board shown at the line. That'll hype them up here, and it's now half a second covering these 4. And indeed, the motivation from the pit wall is certainly on. As there we go, turn 1, Chanakun to the inside of Hayden Haikal. Can Thanapatra now secure a run as they basically, they abuse the track limits. There's something fierce. I have to be careful that doesn't get them in trouble.
Season, Dan. It's last time of the season. Track limits no longer matter. And now, after he's led the majority of this race, it's the 24 of Hayden Haikal. He's relegated back to 3rd. He's fighting for that 3rd position. It's the 2 Suzuki Swifts that have currently got control of this one. Chanakun's going to get to the inside down at turn number 3. But is it going to be the drive off of the corner? And all of a sudden, the 55, we talked about it, Thanapatra led us away in the opening couple laps. Is he here to spoil the party? He's looking for an open lane. He's trying to find a gap, but there is none on offer, and Hayden Haikal, as they run to turn number 4, is going to be on the outside on the final time for the year. Is he going to be able to slot it back in? And Thanapatra did not get enough of a getaway. He slots back in down to P number 4. It's Chanakun who's going to lead us as we run down into turn number 5. So where they started this lap of this top 4, it's only going to be Thanapatra who's still in that right spot. There's a car off on the right-hand side as well, which is one of the retirements of this race. Chanakun is going to lead us as we come through 6 through 7, back to the right-hand side. Here comes Adapong as he got something to say. And finally, Hayden Haikal, can he find his way for that signature move down at turn number 9?
Well, maybe the lunge comes at turn 12. No, it's going to come. It's at 9.
He gets to the inside. Adapong got to make room. They touch. They bang. Chanakun Nun is still trying to hang on to this win, and indeed the squabbles that go on behind. This might decide the race. Adapong is there. He's got control of P2 at this point in time. You'd have to say that Chanaknan is good. He's going to get home in this one because here comes Hayden Haikal. Donapatris there. It's going to be Adapong to cover. Lock tires. Last corner. Last lap dash. To the line. Chanaknan way out wide. He's deep. He's very deep. Is he going to get the drive off? It's going to be the 35 who gets home in P2. The 56 is going to win your final race of the weekend for the Super Ecos. And Hayden Haikal, a win yesterday, a podium today. What about that for your Thailand Super Ecos?
My word. For a second there, I was going to say Chanakun, he had that one covered, but then somehow ended up very wide, very slow. Adapong almost got him there. There's a thumbs up from the 35 to Hayden Haikal. Yeah, so looks like that's at least one smile in the pack there as a result of that one. And my word, that is what we like to see. Hayden Haikal locking the tyres up even under brakes at turn 5 and turn 12 in the last lap, really pushing that number 24 machine to its absolute limit. As that there is your overall podium for today, and he's one of our C+ entries that sees the checkered flag home first.
Did you see Danawat in the background in the 95 entry had his hand out the window going, oh, I got to watch, but boy did that look good from back there. The C+ drivers, Chanaknan won the race, Varanchit was the second of the drivers home as well, and I believe it was one of the other drivers, it might have been Visitpong actually in the 7 on the right hand side, home in third in class. My word! Can we just cancel the rest of the afternoon in the GT action? I want to see maybe the Super Ecos have another round.
Just throw another one in, because why not at this stage? I mean, look, small car, hard to get away, it seems, from each other, and delivering as a result. Well, that's going to more or less do it for our Super Eco race. But of course, the highlights, once again, from the team at the circuit. And good to see, of course, high spirits and smiles on many of the drivers' faces here, as we are blessed to usually see here as part of the racing action in Thailand. The standing start for the Super Ecos means you can see a game of who can get away best, and meant for a very busy lap 1 as we were all kinds of 3-4 wide into the hairpin at turn 3.
Oh, it was just absolutely mental. 4 wide, that was the onboard shot from Hayden Haikal as he tried to carve his way back through the field and get back to the pointy end of things. It was the 55 who led the way early on, and the bumping and grinding on the run down to, I believe that would be the last corner before they turn back and come down to the pit straight. It was a heavy fight between the 24 and the 55, eventually got clear, and I tell you what, how good was Chanaknan trying to buy into the background? It was this move that unfortunately for the 25 machine of Sathapon put him out and in the chaos, and then the very next corner would run into dramas. 3-way fight in the early stages of things. Well, it was a 2-way fight, became a 3-way fight, became a 4-way fight as Chanaknan set a fastest lap of his race on his way to catching up with that battle pack. It was absolutely door-to-door, edge of your seat stuff as they defended from each other, as they swapped, as they gave each other room. There was a little bit of bumping, a little bit of banging, but all very much within the limits. And it was all okay until that moment there. That was probably the worst of them, but it was, other than that, respectful like you wouldn't believe.
Indeed. Limits pushed, maybe the tiniest bits of contact. And then yeah, we got to the fact we got 2x2, another bit of contact there that time between Haikal and Adapong. Close, not quite, and then Hayden really pushing the 24. A second bit of contact there into turn 12, which just ruffled his feathers a tiny bit. There it is from the outside shot. At the end of lap 11, if I'm not mistaken, it was. And then we ended up there almost 3 wide. And then here, the final lap, bit of a lock-up from Hayden Haikal. You can see there, Chanaknan super wide. Adapong almost gets up the inside, but they finished that lap more or less the way they started. And that would have to do it. Well, that is how it all ended there. And as a result, that will have to do us for the Super Eco here this weekend and for season 2023.
Boo, give us more Super Ego. Give us more. Give us more. The fans want it. I want it. Maybe if they could go to the 3-race calendar next season, I wouldn't be too dismayed with that one. Only 12 laps, but that felt like an hour. You feel like that was an hour-long race, Dan?
No, it never goes that quickly. That's for sure. And well, whilst Hayden Highcal and the rest of the drivers are taking their comments down trackside with their looks like Goody. Unfortunately, that will have to do us for the morning session. It's almost lunchtime, it seems, for everyone at the trackside. And that means we'll also be taking our next break as well here shortly. And then when we return, we get to jump on in for some more fun and games. Although I actually have to go and confirm exactly when that'll be for us, or when we come back, I should say, to be precise.
Yep, so sit in the background and relax, ladies and gentlemen. Go and grab a bite to eat, because that's absolutely what we're going to be doing. And some of the drivers will be cooling off and setting your sights on this afternoon's racing action. From everything for right now within the Thailand Super Series, we'll be back on the other side of the 30-minute lunch and break to bring you more action from the brewery room round. And I believe we've actually got, just having a quick look in, it'll be... The next race is actually due to be our Supercar GT3 from this afternoon's coverage.
Indeed. To be more precise, having a look at some of the numbers, we'll be returning in just under an hour's time to resume coverage here from the Chang International Circuit for the final day of the B-Quik Thailand Super Series for 2023. And indeed, yeah, our next race will indeed be the Thailand Supercar GT3 category. It is currently 11:12 a.m. local time. We will be resuming at 12:05 p.m. local time, so keep that one in mind for you there, folks. Thank you all very much for watching the Super Compact and Super Eco Racing this morning. And yeah, we'll take our break here and now, Scott, and be back for the remaining coverage of the day. There's actually quite a bit still to come from us here on behalf of the B-Quik Thailand Super Series and speedcafe.com for the English production here from the Chang International Circuit.